6 o'clock, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the main Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Nashville Predators continue their win streak, making it to 5 last night, beating the San Jose Sharks 6-3 with 6 different goal scorers for the Predators, including Philip Forsberg, who tallied 2 assists as well in the win. Forsberg has now 12 points in the 5-game win streak. Now with 77 points on the year, 3 behind Utah, who holds the first wildcard spot in the West. Nashville does have a game in hand. Next up for the Preds, they will play the New Jersey Devils Thursday night with a 7 o'clock puck drop at Bridgestone Arena. College basketball news last night as North Carolina's fired coach Hubert Davis after 5 seasons coaching, where he had 125-54 record and reached the Final Four back in 2022. This year, the Tar Heels were knocked out of the first round of this year's tournament by VCU in overtime after they gave up a 19-point lead. NFL news yesterday, 41-year-old quarterback Joe Flacco is returning for a 19th NFL season to the Cincinnati Bengals on a 1-year, $6 million deal with an extra $3 million more with incentives. Also, the Saints are adding quarterback Zach Wilson on a 1-year deal per multiple reports. For all your foundation repair waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into your Wednesday morning on 104.5 The Zone. Good morning and welcome in. This is Ramon and Will. The number is 615-737-1045. You stream us on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. More offensive line discussion on the show this morning as we continue to break down interior prospects with Rhett Bryan at 9 o'clock. We've got something on every game in the Sweet 16 in hour number 3. Austin Price of AllQuest joins us on Wednesday this week at 7:20, a little earlier than usual. And Ramon Foster, there is a lot to get to as always. Good morning. How are we doing? And
wow.
There we go.
Wow.
There he is.
I was on mute. I'm at home again. But
Second try.
Why?
Ramon Foster, how are we doing? Good morning.
I have a smile. We're good this morning, man. I was muting. I'm not sure if J-Hog had me mute either, but I am.
You.
That is a demerit.
It was on me. All right. Well, bet I'll go down by myself then. I won't sink the ship altogether. But we're good, though, man. We're a lot better than we were yesterday, although I cannot come into the studio till tomorrow. But
okay,
that's neither here nor there. But yesterday was cool. It was decent, man. I saw your dad yesterday, by the way.
Good. Love that.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, he was real cool yesterday.
I heard.
Yeah, it was a great game by your school, not by my son's school yesterday. One bad inning, boy, it'd take you down, man. But neither here nor there, man. Gosh, I hate being out of the studio. It just seems weird, Will. Absolutely seems weird, but we're here. We're doing it. Do I sound better this morning?
You do sound better. Yeah.
Okay, good.
You sound great.
Good.
You always sound great.
Well, you know, I have a voice for radio. Or I have a face for radio, I guess, too.
Voice for radio as well. Don't sell yourself short.
Voice for radio, it works. No, I won't. Not even a little bit, man. But we're back, man, on this hump day and ready to go. Yesterday, I had a little sickness, man. Threw me all the way off. I didn't get my workout in. You know, I've been trying to be way more consistent with that. Absolutely threw me off to where I couldn't go in the gym yesterday. And then I wanted to go for a walk, and then I had kids, stuff I had to do as well. So life get the life in sometimes, Will, and you just got to, just take whatever it gives you and move forward.
Life gets to lifing is we should put that on a Ramon Will t-shirt.
It does. You know what I mean? You're supposed to have a perfectly normal day, and then boom, out of nowhere, this pops up. You got 5 different tasks you forgot you had to do. Oh, by the way, I got to do that training, also that work training that we have to get done by the end of the month too. Still had knocked that out. It is what it is, though.
I'm sure you'll get 10 more reminders before the deadline comes, so you won't forget about it. That's for sure.
That's for doggone sure.
That's a universal experience among everyone. I was in Knoxville last night. Speaking of good games for my school and or yours, great game for our alma mater last night. Called a walk-off home run for Tennessee against USC Upstate last night in a game that was totally fun and not at all what I think a lot of people expected at Lindsey Nelson Stadium last night.
UNC Upstate. Good pitching, good ball play. Which one was it that kept it so tight for them?
A solid conference champion midweek opponent that just didn't flinch. It was kind of fun. I expected to maybe have a close game because this is a kind of the team you see in an NCAA regional. Like they are the defending conference champs. They've been in the Big South Conference tournament championship game for 3 straight years. Them and High Point have kind of gone back and forth as the main teams in that conference, but they had scored a ton of runs and hadn't pitched super well. They had 14 hits against Texas earlier this season and a 2-run loss, and they're up 1-0 for 7 innings of this game. Tennessee takes a lead, and then it's 4-2 Tennessee on a walk-off Blake Grimmer home run last night, which was enough adrenaline to get me back around midnight last night. So fun night, really fun night, and very worth the sleep deprivation and the drive. It was really fun.
That's what I was wondering. What time you got back, man? 12 o'clock, you say, to Nashville?
Yeah, it's around the time I was settled in back at home. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not okay. But, I mean, hey, we are here hustling, Will. You got many lanes that you work in, and so do I. So I'm glad to have you back in one piece. And even though we're separate this morning, man, I thought you were going to be able to see it this morning, man. I got displayed behind me, okay, around my work area. I got my 40 under 40 picture and my doggone 40 under 40 trophy as well. I was super excited about this, man.
As you should be. You and Trey Smith just representing Tennessee football for Tennessee 40 under 40 this year.
Pretty cool. Even though I barely made it to the deadline, it don't matter. Will, I'm 40 and still made the 40 under 40. So that was a cool weekend. I don't know if we talked a whole lot about it, but it was a cool weekend. Either way, let's get to it, man. Was there any basketball? It was NBA on a little bit last night, and I ain't really pay a whole lot of attention to it.
The basketball last night was Hubert Davis being fired.
Yeah.
Wasn't a game, but it was a big story. Fired as the head coach at the University of North Carolina. The school did not specify the nature of his departure in a statement Tuesday, simply calling it a change in leadership. He has nearly $5.3 million of guaranteed money left in his deal. And the statement said the university would honor the terms of his contract. UNC, that's kind of how these things work. Thursday's loss to 11 seed VCU was the largest comeback in the NCAA tournament since 2018. Up 19 and a loser in overtime, 82-78. UNC was 24-9 this past year, despite projected top 5 pick Caleb Wilson missing the final 9 games with 2 different hand and thumb injuries. They beat Duke February 7th to go to 19-4 and then went 5-5 the rest of the way. This is the kind of search, Ramon, that sends shockwaves through an entire sport, because this is the kind of job that does not come open very often.
No, it does not, man. One, I thought Hubert Davis was fine at UNC. Been there since, 2019, if I'm not mistaken, at North Carolina. Looking it up right there. No, actually, 2021 is when he took over head coach, and he's been there since 2012. I thought he was fine. I thought he was what he needed as far as the type of coach that you wanted there. It's just that following the legacy, man, like Roy Williams is always going to be hard to do for the coach behind him. Those expectations are always through the roof. And to your point about the actual job, Will, like it's North Carolina. It's actually literally a blue blood when it comes down to the expectations. The same conversation we're having about Kentucky and their expectations as well. Again, Mark Pope following a legacy coach and Coach Kyle. And people want to win. They want to win bad. I'll tell you one alum that probably couldn't care any less about North Carolina basketball. Michael Jordan. He's winning 4 out of his last 6 NASCAR races. I wonder if he's even paying attention to the March Madness right now, man. But Those are the type of alum that you're dealing with. Michael Jordan's, your Grant Hills, not your Grant Hill, your Vince Carters. You go up and down the line of guys that come through and have played there, and losing to VCU is something that will get you fired, which, again, I'm sure Kentucky fans is like, they did it. Why won't we fire our coach now?
Right. It's going to be interesting to see who's really running that search. At the football search last time, Bubba Cunningham, is a fairly well-respected athletic director. He was the head of the selection committee that put UNC in the first four a season ago, when they were 1-12 against Quad 1 opponents and lost to San Diego State in the first four of the tournament a year ago. But it was kind of a different faction that brought Bill Belichick to town. And the story has kind of went, Bubba Cunningham probably had a different pick for North Carolina in football, and the money people got Bill Belichick, and the money people won because they paid the check. They put the check in Bill Belichick, if you will. Who's making the hire in basketball? I don't know. This is kind of like Lady Vols basketball legacy in a way, Ramon, where they just stick it within the family so much.
Yeah.
It sounds like they want to go outside that this time, but again, put your money where your mouth is. We'll see.
You do. Considering what's happened with Auburn basketball, I wanted to bring it up. You remember the conversation was about Bill Belichick's son being being the coach behind him when it comes to their hiring process. I wonder if UNC is reconsidering those types of terms if they were true about the Bill Belichick too. To your point about them having to make hard decisions on coaches moving forward, this is a cultural shock. Coaches will leave their teams to come to be UNC coach, man. And I know you brought this up the other day as far as Vanderbilt's coach Byington. I doubt that would be the case. But UNC is going to knock on everybody's door that they see as a rising candidate. And I think they deserve to. Basketball is good when UNC is good as well. I know we're Vols fans, but we can at least acknowledge that.
Mark Byington may or may not have been on a hot board from On3 last night in Pete Nakos.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Look, UNC, I wouldn't say reported, but speculated. Let's say that. He's not going to put something out there without having some kind of knowledge of it being an option. But UNC is the kind of job, kind of like when Alabama came open after Nick Saban left.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of guys you got to make say no, who are probably not at all interested, but what if they were? Like Billy Donovan, like Dan Hurley, like Dusty May, like Todd Golden, a number of names on that list. We'll get to that at 7 o'clock to start hour 2. But it is the kind of job that it only takes one yes that you thought would probably be a no in order to make the right kind of hire there. Not necessarily the right kind, just the big splash hire. Then I think there are names like Tommy Lloyd, Mark Byington, who are next on the list that I think are more realistic options to take the job. But a lot of folks you got to make say no.
You think a coach like Bruce Pearl would throw his name in a hat? Like he would.
That's another got to make say no candidate. Yeah. And this is why I think it's such a big story. Even if you're not a UNC basketball person, and we're not that far away, but this is more of just a national basketball story. If you don't care about this today, you might soon when your coach is being pursued and being wanted by UNC. It is the kind of job literally that sends shockwaves through an entire sport when it comes open.
Yeah, because their budget and everything that they allow you to do at UNC for basketball is through the roof. I think they were hoping football held his own. Now, Bill Belichick in his second season may be better, but I look at those type of situations that North Carolina and say traditionally it's old coaches trying to do new things usually don't work out in football as much. But again, it's Bill Belichick, and we'll see how it goes. But basketball will always be king in North Carolina when it comes down to the Tar Heels.
Just not money-wise. It's not king money-wise anywhere. But interest-wise, maybe. But
also, too, that buyout for Hubert Davis, that is a non-football buyout, man. $5 million. College teams throw that away. College football teams throw that away like it's nothing.
That's right. You can look under the couch cushions and find $5 million at a lot of SEC football programs.
Absolutely. That's tough.
615-737-1045, our number live for the 1045 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. We've got some proposed rule changes in the NFL to dive into next. Kicking off the show in hour one of Ramon and Will on Twitter at Ramon and Will. He is the 11-year NFL veteran Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins at the controls, 615-737-1045, the number. So, it's rule change time in the NFL offseason, Ramon. And yesterday we had playing rules proposals. We had the league covering their butts in the case of replacement refs. Again, something that you lived through. The first time that happened, the last time that happened, not the first time, in the NFL. We'll get to that, but I want to run through these and see what makes sense to you and what maybe doesn't make a ton of sense to you. So,
for sure,
let's start with competition committee rules proposals for 2026 NFL football. Permit the kicking team to declare an onside kick at any time during the game. You on board with this?
Yeah, that one's one of those. It's a coaching scheme thing. I personally, if I can be real with you, I don't like the announcement of it. Like that to me is a part of the game in which you catch the opposing team not being ready. I think you take advantage of it. Why do I have to announce it? It really does, in my opinion, take away from the opposing team, the kicking team's ability for the element of surprise. Like, I know it's coming. I'm not sure how many times onside kicks were actually recovered by the kicking team this past year. I would expect that number to be very, very low, but we'll never forget the Pat McAfee's, onside kick of the Patriots coming out of the half, onside kicking situations right there. I like that element of surprise. Being able to do it throughout the duration of the game is cool, but I personally would like to go back to the old ways on that one. I don't think too many people got their heads knocked off on onside kicks just because. I like the element of surprise, though. I'm not sure how you feel, but I'm for any time, but also not telling the other team I'm doing it.
So in 2025, the only number I can find right off the top is through October, teams were 1 of 21.
Yeah.
Recovering onside kicks, just a little under 5%. Overall, with all the kicks combined, what I see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that were recovered all season from Sam Martin, Cairo Santos, Harrison Butker, Evan McPherson, Andre Smith, and Charlie Smith. I don't know how you say his last name. I can never figure that one out.
Well, the E at the end might be smart.
No, it's YTH. Whatever.
Either way, yeah. You said
five
it.
all season. I mean, I don't have a strong opinion about this one. Are you one of the people that would be fine with having a offensive play instead of an onside kick? Like you get like 4th and 15 from your own 40.
Now, that's how you keep the entertainment factor up right there. That also just leads to more elimination of kickers of the game, too. I know that's always been a conversation of, how relevant are kickers and, what are they? You can just place the ball down. Teams aren't returning them at the rate that they used to. So
they're returning them more, though.
Well, yeah, they are now, but as far as like being able to just take the punt out of it, just put the ball on the 20 and stuff like that, like it takes away from the jobs of the kicker. And I necessarily won't do it, but I do think, Will, if we introduced it, it would be exciting. A 4th and 15? Oh man, I'd sign up for it.
You probably have to make it more like from your own 25 or 30. That way it's still like if you get it, then you're getting the ball around the same spot that you would if you were kicking an onside kick. I don't know. I mean, I don't totally hate it, to be quite honest with you.
I don't hate it.
I think that you're opening up a can of worms of, again, to your point, like just eliminating kicks and putting the ball too much in offense's hands.
Right, yeah. But the onside kicking side of it to me is do it anytime and don't announce it anymore. I'm okay with the old ways.
Another one from the competition committee. This one we knew was going to happen, and I remember the Titans didn't do this the first time they had the opportunity to, and then did the second time. Eliminate the kicking team's incentive to intentionally kick the ball out of bounds when kicking off from the 50-yard line. Bones found this loophole. A lot of coaches found this loophole. The rule of the ball going out of bounds is not that you just automatically get it at the 40. It's that you get it, correct me if I'm wrong, 25 yards from where you originally kicked it out.
Yes.
So if you kicked it from the 50 and you kicked it out of bounds, the penalty would bring the ball to the 25-yard line. Well, that's way better than just kicking it through the back of the end zone, which gives it to you closer to the 40. So teams just started kicking the ball out of bounds last year, realizing like, oh, if you give me a 15-yard penalty on the extra point or something that's tacked on to the kick, I'm just going to kick it out of bounds. Now you automatically get it at your own 25-yard line.
Which is one of the smartest things that they could have did as coaches. Eliminating it, yeah, I get it. I get the why, especially when this league is more offensive than it ever has been. Allowing teams to start at, what is it now, the 35 almost at this point. So
Yep.
I have no problem with this one at all. It's a loophole teams found. You got to adjust to it. It doesn't, I don't think, hurt much as it pertains to changing this rule, just forcing teams to just kick the ball to the opposing team so that we can get the most exciting play of the day, probably if there's a big return. It evens the field. Again, it's a small item to me, not really a big issue whatsoever, man. I'm cool with this one.
Kickoff alignment requirements, also a suggested change for the competition committee with the NFL adopting the dynamic kickoff in 24, making it permanent last season. This would tweak how the receiving team lines up, mainly adjusting how many players are on their straining line, how the rest are spaced. Not a major change there. Allowing league personnel to consult with on-field officials when considering disqualifications for both flagrant football acts and non-football acts without being called on the field. For example, like, I don't know, if a Steelers receiver went and had an altercation with a fan that got him suspended 2 games that didn't even get him penalized during the game.
Yeah, or the element of human mistakes that happen during games too from referees, right? Like, is that side of it as well? I'm for this. I'm very much for it at the college level. Let me just say that as well. They have to clean their version of ejecting players out way worse than the NFL does. The only question I have is how long with this rule change is the review going to take? And I know you probably say, well, take as long as you need, especially if it's a key player in the game type of situation. But the league is always, and I think fans are accustomed to the games continually having flow to it. How long of stoppage do you need in these situations? But of course, when you look at guys' public perception, the PR that goes behind it, and also the impact it has on the team, this is one of those situations in which you have to get it right. I'm pro this move right here. It's just, what's our timeline?
Yeah.
How long are you taking?
It feels like the kind of thing that maybe happens once or twice a season. Something that's not a major change. I mean, you had a punch thrown in the Super Bowl that wasn't called.
This is true.
Probably gets called for an ejection if you have the eye in the sky watching more closely. But we would call that the Metcalf rule. If you go fight a fan, somebody will see it and they will throw you out of the game. I mean,
were you opposed or for that rule? I mean, for him getting ejected in the game after all the information
for going up and hitting a fan. I mean, or not hitting a fan. I don't want to
taking a swipe.
Yeah, he kind of took a swing. I mean, yeah, like if you do that to a player after a play who doesn't have a helmet on, then you're getting thrown out of the game. I mean, having that altercation with a fan. There's no reason to go interact like that with somebody that's yelling at you from the front row. I know that the fan was not totally in the right either and was kind of corny in the way that he decided to go about all these things, but you also got to be held to a little bit of a higher standard, I think.
This is true. I wonder also if the fine print on attending league games will change for the fans too in that retrospect.
That's a good point.
Like,
Good point.
I would say watch what you're acknowledging on getting tickets and going into stadiums probably moving forward, because that was a black eye right there. I mean, the entire situation, which led to a lawsuit, I think that's probably still pending as well for DK Metcalf.
If you want to heckle to the max. You maybe read the fine print. I think for the rest of us normal humans, we're just go about our daily lives.
Heckle to the max.
If you're a weirdo, by all means, read the fine print for multiple reasons.
Most of us are doing it.
All of those are kind of the more minor things that were proposed by the competition committee. And then there is something that's a little bit bigger of a deal from the competition committee. For 1 year only, they say, pause for effect, to allow the NFL officiating department to correct clear and obvious misses made by on-field officials that impact the game in the event that there is a work stoppage involving the game officials represented by the NFL Referees Association. They are building in leverage, Ramon.
Yes, they are.
Against the NFL Referees Association. That way, if there are replacement refs, they don't totally blow it, is essentially the way that this is written. So the league used replacement officials in 2012. You have the iconic moment in Packers and Seahawks when Seattle was awarded a touchdown after one replacement official signaled a touchdown and the other signaled an interception. What this does, though, is that this opens Pandora's box in a lot of ways. One, it creates leverage for the NFL against the officials to say, well, I mean, we don't have to get to a deal with you because we'll just get replacement refs in here and then we'll clean up all the mistakes they make with replay assist. We'll just broaden the scope of what replay assist means. I think this starts to set the precedent for them to re-referee judgment calls and potentially make games a lot longer and potentially just totally change the way that NFL games are officiated in the same way that NBA games, you can challenge judgment calls and go to the monitor and say, no, he got hacked here. I want to go look at that. It makes the game longer at the end of every game. So limited in scope, but you could have clear and obvious fouls like face mask. You could have roughing the passer, intentional grounding, horse collar tackle, illegal contact, pass interference. All these things, I think, are within interpretation, Ramon, if this does happen. And the league's got to decide what's more important, creating leverage against the refs or potentially creating a precedent that allows games to be re-refereed even when the normal refs do come back.
Man, it's sticky because just looking at the history of the last time that this happened in 2011? 2012. I remember it. I mean, to your point, I lived it. They would miss calls. Veteran savvy guys were allowed to get away with stuff that the normal refs weren't able. I mean, the normal refs would have called in those situations as well. The straw, to your point, you brought this up a second ago, that broke the camel's back was the Hail Mary that ended up happening between Green Bay and was it the Cowboys at the time too?
Green Bay and Seattle.
Green Bay and Seattle.
I just mentioned this like 5 seconds ago.
I know, but I was remembering the name. I was so ready for this
Hendersonville Zone, Golden Tate.
It was the Hail Mary, man. And I remember going in the next day and we were talking about it in the weight room and stuff like that, and just how they were, I mean, essentially costing people jobs with the jobs that the referees were doing. Like, they were a tick slower on calling flags. They got to, I think, trigger happy with throwing flags at times, and they just couldn't see it. This group, the last time that they came about, were hired in June. Like, did they go through training beforehand? Absolutely. But it's by far one of the longest, I think, holdouts that the league has had in real time. Like, these dudes, man, respectfully, we were joking. It was just like, man, don't you have a high school game to go to? Like, we were calling them high school refs, because I will say, when you're officiated by the original crews, Will, I will not lie, they miss some calls, the original referees, but they're good. They know how to talk to you. They'll guide you through it. I almost felt like the referees the last time around were not fans, but they were they were blown away by everything that was happening.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, from a player's perspective, we just looked at them as if, man, we can't wait till the other guys come back, because you'd have defensive linemen holding you. We're trying to get to the next level, and that's a hold. And you can yell at them, but they couldn't see it. The speed is different. The hits were different. Just the overall game officiated with the size of the players out there was just different too. This is something where the product can't take a step back. I think the NFL understands this. This honestly doesn't help the referees union with their negotiation tactics with these replays. But that was the one thing that we were upset about. Y'all can't mess this up. Like, jobs are on the line when you miss a call like this.
Sure are. Yeah, it's interesting. Pittsburgh made a proposal to make permanent the change implemented this past season that permits clubs to have one video or phone call with no more than 5 prospective free agents during the legal tampering period. I would expect that to probably happen. I mean, the league does these things all the time where they'll implement something for one season and then they'll become permanent, which is why I think the re-refereeing the game stuff with replacement refs potentially coming in is important. And then you have the Cleveland proposal that would allow draft selections to be traded up to 5 seasons in the future, which truly is the most Cleveland Browns thing that could ever be proposed in the NFL.
Tell us they don't want Deshaun Watson without telling us they don't want Deshaun Watson.
My goodness. Like, hey, well, can we go ahead and trade a 2037th to not have this guy play? Like, we'll do anything, is what they're telling us. Like, they want kids that are currently in high school and those picks being traded. Like, that's literally what you would be doing. This is like when Alabama schedules Wisconsin in 2045. You're like, oh, great. Yeah. This year's 8-year-olds are going to be loving this when they actually get to play football.
This is very true. It would lead to an explosive offseason once team conditions themselves to it. As far as trading away first-round draft picks and stuff like that, like I personally think if they allow this for the NFL to happen, they have to have like a box around what draft picks they're trading away. You trade away 5 years from now, I feel like you need to be in the market of your first 3 rounds being a part of those trades, because I personally like the structure of the league, keeping it tight, having those picks come around sooner. And I think NFL teams need those picks sooner than 5 years out for those type of situations. I'm with you. It's likely a cop-out to find themselves out of bad contracts. But I'd much rather keep the NFL a little bit more tight-knit when it comes to off-season operations.
615-737-1045. Coming up, one of Ramon's old rivals is sticking around in the NFL. That's next. What's up? It's Will Bowling. Early to mid-March is an odd time of transition. You got cold and flu season losing its grip. One day it's winter. The next day it's summer. One thing's for sure, though, this time of year, spring cleaning is essential. Let's go ahead and purge all those germs. Purge all the bad stuff from the cold weather. You got to get Zero Res out there to take care of those carpets for you. With close to 4,800 Google reviews and over 700 Facebook reviews, no other carpet cleaning company is better received and reviewed than Zero Res. The service is excellent. You'll learn that when you look up the Google reviews and Facebook reviews. You'll also hear about how Zero Res is a smarter, lasting clean. No harsh chemicals, no soap residue, faster dry times, and everything's going to stay cleaner longer. Invest in the right kind of spring cleaning with the good folks at Zero Res. Call them at 615-535-9376 or book online at zeroresnashville.com. 615-535-9376. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. Wrapping up hour one on Ramon and Will. And there is a player in the NFL who Ramon shared a football field with quite a bit, who's sticking around. How about Joe Flacco agreeing to another one-year deal to keep playing football? 1 year, $6 million, up to $9 million, playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. Congratulations to Joe Flacco, who will be playing for the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 6 once the Bengals offensive line gets Joe Burrow hurt once again at 41 years of age. Congrats, Joe.
No doubt.
Still doing it at a very high level. Can you believe this guy's still playing?
We made his first Pro Bowl last year, so that's why.
No, the Pro Bowl doesn't mean crap.
That was his first
Pro Bowl is nothing.
Oh, Joe! How many guys turned it down before Joe said?
We should organize a flag football game in the parking lot with people within earshot, and we'd have a better collection of talent than some of the players that were at the Pro Bowl this past season.
No, Will, we can't do that. Those jokers just got bodied by a bunch of Joes this past weekend. I don't think we can do flag football.
They can try out for Team USA.
Yeah. One-time Pro Bowl. You're 100% correct on that. You think about his career, it's been fine, though, Joe Flacco. He's non-threatening to Joe Burrow, but at the same time, Will, you brought it up perfectly. Like, Cincinnati has to start planning for the games in which Joe Burrow won't be in. And that's just it's just sad management, if I can be completely honest with you, that they hadn't gotten that correct, or either Joe Burrow's made of glass in a sense, like he can't get himself out of trouble. Like there's an art to knowing how to fall, knowing when to take a sack and throw the football away as well. But Joe Burrow take hits, and you got to give it to Joe Flacco as well. He went in and daggered the Steelers last year after the Cleveland Browns in the middle of the season, trading him to an in-season rival. And where's the Coach Tomlin? Who does this? Who Andrew Berry? Who does those types of things? And now he's created a rapport with what Cincinnati is as a staff to keep their train going. That's what it's about, is having a good enough non-threatening quarterback that can help you win. And Joe Flacco checks that box.
What does it say about the state of quarterback play in the NFL that a team feels like 41-year-old Joe Flacco gives them a better chance to win than a young guy with less experience?
What it says, it's I think, to be quite honest with you, speak about the quarterbacks that are coming into the league too. We've spoken about how fast this group of quarterbacks have to mature and have to show that they're good. They're not getting the Joe Flacco grace period to where he can just be a part of the story. These guys like Tua, as of late, are the main characters, and they're just not ready. And think about if your first rounders like Kyler Murray, Tua, at this point right now, a lot of these young guys like Zach Wilson, it really shows you that the maturity of that position is immense. And if you don't have your guy, you're going to continue to recycling Joe Flacco. We're still talking about Geno Smith still being tossed around the league as well. This group of young quarterbacks just isn't ready, and everybody's trying to find that starting stud. But more and more time and time again, you find experience matters. You find guys that simply know how to play the quarterback position is what matters, and everybody's chasing this dual threat guy and this Patrick Mahomes type, and those dudes have won every 5 to 10 years. You don't get them. That's why Joe Flacco's still around. We're talking about a rehab tour for Tua, Kyler Murray. At this point, J.J. McCarthy is playing in this world as well. Like, it's trash. There's no Trey Lance in the league right now. Where is Zach Wilson in the league right now? Like, think about the names. Michael Penix Jr. has a lot of questions about him and Atlanta moving forward. Those are the things that the league isn't speaking about, is how much the quarterback position is pushed to the front of the line when it shouldn't be. That's what that speaks more to me than anything.
Let's go to the phones where Larissa is in Nashville this morning. What's up, Larissa?
Morning, Larissa.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
Happy Wednesday. Feliz miércoles. For those who don't, it means Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I just want to say, Joe Flacco is laughing all the way to the bank. And I am not mad at that. I'm like, sir, go get your dough. And then you have the kids. You got the college kids. I can't even call them kids. They're 30-years-olds playing. They're getting the NIL dough. I mean, come on, people. You know, it is music and sports bring people together, but you cannot be mad at Flacco. You cannot be mad at anybody that's trying to get their bag. So, with that said, I'm going to keep listening to you guys. You guys are amazing.
Thank you, Larissa.
Appreciate it, Larissa.
We think you're amazing as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about it that way. Joe Flacco's getting Brandon Sorsby money with the Cincinnati Bengals.
This is true. This is true. What he got?
Congrats
1 for 6.
Congrats to Joe Flacco on resetting the 22-year-old quarterback. Like, would you rather be a backup quarterback in the NFL or a starting quarterback in college? Take your pick.
Jeez, that is so real, Will.
He's getting Sam Levitt money at LSU.
He's getting Sam Levitt money. That's exactly what he's doing. Up to $6 million. I mean, goodness. Which one would you rather? Well, if that's the case, that's why Diego Pavia wanted to come back, and also Joey as well.
But you're telling me that you could be a backup quarterback, not really have to play very much this season, and make $6 million, up to $9 million, which $3 million with incentives. I'd take that.
I take it too. There's no better paying job than what the NFL is offering.
Well, it'd be funny if these incentives were like, if you help make a really good cooler of Gatorade that everyone loves, you get an extra $250,000 per game. If you make funny jokes on the sideline and make the quarterback laugh after he makes a mistake or throws an interception, you will get $10,000 for every good dad joke that you tell on the side. Like, what kind of $3 million incentives for what? Like, what are we really? I mean, I guess if he plays, because I'm answering my own question, but
maybe they think he will play. Well, we're also talking about a Joe Flacco kind of guy that said in January that he still wants to compete and start in the NFL, but would consider going back to the Bengals if he couldn't find a starting position, which obviously seems to be.
Where's he going to start at 40?
That's what I'm saying. He's not being realistic back in January.
For a flag football team in the event formerly known as the Pro Bowl, for the semi-Pro Bowl.
I like your response right there. Like Jayhawk. Really? Where is he going to start?
Look, I'm just telling you.
I would love to drive an Italian sports car if given the opportunity. I'm not going to be driving an Italian sports car.
Will brought reality to the situation. We really doing this? Where is he going to start? That's like me playing starting center for an NBA team right now.
Where he's going to start is at all-time quarterback in the Turkey Bowl at Thanksgiving. That's where he's going to start. He's the all-time quarterback at recess at his kid's school.
That really broke me right there. Like, who's asking for this? Right. Nobody.
What do we do?
Jayhawk, I appreciate the attempt, though, man. The attempt was awesome.
Coming up, we've got a pair of tickets to see Nashville Soccer Club take on Charlotte FC Saturday, April 25th for Star Wars Night. Your chance to win a pair of tickets after this. The Predators with a victory last night. Names on the hot board to replace Hubert Davis. Still to come as we begin hour 2 after this.
7:02, good morning live from the Circus Sports at the main Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Nashville Predators continued their win streak last night, making it to 5 as they beat the San Jose Sharks 6-3. 6 different goal scorers last night for the Predators, including Philip Forsberg, who also tallied 2 assists in the win. Forsberg has now 12 points in the 5-game win streak. The Preds, with 77 points on the season, sit 3 points now behind Utah, who hold the first wildcard spot in the West, but Nashville does have a game in hand. Next, the Preds face the New Jersey Devils Thursday night with the 7 o'clock puck drop at Bridgestone Arena. College basketball news last night. Per multiple reports, North Carolina fired head coach Hubert Davis after 5 seasons where he had a 125-54 record and reached the Final Four back in 2022. The Tar Heels this tournament were knocked out of the first round by VCU in overtime after a shocking upset after giving up a 19-point lead. In NFL news yesterday, 41-year-old quarterback Joe Flacco, he's returning for a 19th NFL season where he's returning to the Bengals on a 1-year, $6 million deal with an extra $3 million more with incentives. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
$7 a.m. as Hour 2 begins on your Wednesday morning edition of Ramon and Will. On a beautiful spring morning in Music City. The number's 615-737-1045. And we give the number because it is a winning Wednesday on 104.5 The Zone. Nashville SC hosts Charlotte FC Saturday, April the 25th. For Star Wars night at Geodis Park, and we have your chance to win tickets thanks to Shoney's. Be caller number 5 right now to win a pair of tickets to be there at 615-737-1045. That's 615-737-1045. Nashville SC, Charlotte FC, Saturday, April 25th. From their fresh food bar to their classic menu items, you can't go wrong at Shoney's. Plus, their new family meals to go is perfect for your get-together with locations in Clarksville, Dixon, Lebanon, and Nashville. Shoney's, let's eat. Best of luck. Ramon Foster can endorse how fun of an outing and an evening Nashville SC games are.
Listen, I was waiting to endorse this one. This is a ticket you want to get. That the phone line should be lit up like a light bulb. I'm still thinking about the time that I had this past weekend at the game, man. I say win, lose, or draw because you can in soccer. Go. If you are a Nashvilleian or even surrounding cities, man, I promise you it's worth the trip. It's worth the trip. And the excitement of the game as well, too, man. And I almost feel like, Will, like, you want to see how that square building kind of relates to the Titans Nissan Stadium, too. Like, it's massive, man. I think the new Nissan is going to be huge as well. But, like, going inside of it really changed the way I viewed it because I've gone in Geodis before, but I really had no idea it was that big with how I saw it this last time.
Sure. Love it. Hubert Davis is out at UNC. Pete Nakos of On 3 has a hot board. Breaking down the candidates in the mix. Todd Golden at Florida is number 1 on the list.
Wow.
I know there's a CBS report out there that Brad Stevens is the name of interest here. Again, a lot of guys you got to make say no at North Carolina. Nate Oates at Alabama, a name on this list. Billy Donovan with the Chicago Bulls.
Wow.
467 and 186 with 4 Final Fours, back-to-back national titles at Florida. Dusty May at Michigan, who led FAU to a historic Final Four run in 2023. Tommy Lloyd at Arizona, who has been a 4 seed or better in the NCAA tournament for all 5 of his seasons. And then you have Mark Byington, Vanderbilt. Pete Nakos writing the following. Mark Byington has consistently won at every step in his coaching career. He's turned Vanderbilt into one of the top teams of the SEC, winning the program's first NCAA tournament game in 14 years. He is 47 and 21 in 2 seasons with the Commodores, 267 and 159 as a Division I head coach. He is a former player at UNC Wilmington.
Wow. um, I'll say this, and Vandy fans gonna get mad. It's like you're trying to, chase your coach off. I'll say this. This shows that your program is healthy from a basketball perspective when your coach is being sought after like that. So I can understand the resentment of hearing his name in a situation like this is what he's built up. Of the coaches on this list, I feel like he's the one that could really benefit from being at North Carolina, meaning to the way he is written up, he's won at every level. Like winning in the SEC, which he's done, I feel like the resources that he will be able to get at North Carolina and the names and the attractions of getting those top tier players all the time with his coaching style could be very, very advantageous for North Carolina to go after a guy like him. It seems that like that's the next step. I think the most likeliest pick, well, my front runner of this group is probably Todd Golden, though, because he seems cocky enough to handle North Carolina. If that makes sense to you. The unlikeliest coach, I think, is probably Billy Donovan. I just don't know, but I get why his name is coming up in the college world with what he's done with Florida in years past.
I don't think that Mark Byington's going to North Carolina.
You don't?
Not because I don't think he'd crush it. I think he'd be excellent. I think North Carolina and their money makers and decisive people will want someone who's sustained a little bit more success at their current stops. Mark Byington just hasn't been at Vanderbilt long enough probably to get a job like this time around, unless North Carolina gets more no's than what they originally think. I know Slay's in the chat and mentioned TJ Otzelberger at Iowa State, the coach that Tennessee is going to see on Friday. That's another name that's been thrown out there that I think is absolutely one that makes sense. Someone kind of that tier. And I think Tommy Lloyd is another good example, although he's had a little bit more regular season success. He's also going to be a little bit harder to probably take away from Arizona, which is a very healthy program where he's comfortable and kind of got it up and running. Like, to me, it's kind of like the Kentucky job was with Mark Pope. It's kind of like what Alabama had to decide after Nick Saban. And obviously you're not following a Nick Saban-like character. You're following someone who got fired. How much of those expectations actually work as a negative against you when you're at North Carolina? Like, Billy Donovan's in a situation right now where he just makes the playoffs in Chicago, and he's got an owner in Jerry Reinsdorf. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. You want a new contract? Here you go. Like, if you lose to this point, like, you can make a Final Four and end the career of your arch rival with a loss in the Final Four, the way that Hubert Davis did at North Carolina, and find yourself without a job a few years later, partly because your best player got hurt, missed the last 9 games of the season, and you gave up a big lead in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Like, it takes a special kind of person to embrace that level of expectation and that level of pressure where there is no hiding at North Carolina. There is no just, the football program will do this over here, and then we'll succeed over on this side. Like, you are the show at North Carolina, and everything you do is so heavily scrutinized that, to your point, like Todd Golden is the perfect kind of cocky to take that on and say, no, I'm the one who knocks. I am the one who is going to bring North Carolina back to prominence. But again, like, Florida can match anything that North Carolina has. And again, they just won a national title and have 3 in the last 20 years. Like,
that's true too. But they're
going to get a lot of no's from those top tier candidates.
Dan Hurley's not on this list as well, you think? Or he's a no candidate as well?
He's been on a lot of these lists. I think he's another one of like you got to make the phone call, but like, do we really think Dan Hurley's leaving UConn for UNC? Nah. You never say never, but probably not.
Probably not. I just look at these coaches and say, like, as far as like the next step, like Nate Oates, I feel like he won a national championship at Alabama with the resources that he's getting. He's getting the players. He's had first rounder after first rounder, top tier player year in and year out, and he's also got the swag to get it done as well. It's just that if the way I view it sometimes, I guess in the football sense, and it's probably wrong of me to even be correlating football hires to basketball coaches, but they always are looking for the next guy to ascend up. And I personally feel like that's Mark Byington. But in basketball, you do go with more reputation. You know, you look at the types of coaches that they are and the accomplishments that they've had. And you mentioned this a second ago. The brand matters, but I also view this as just like, well, the coaching does as well. And the ascension up also plays a part in it. Mark Byington's issue, to your point, is, I guess, that has he or does he understand how to win the big game? North Carolina's a big game school. They're going to be on ESPN more often than others, and you got to have that type of swagger to handle it. Now, Nate Oates, no. Todd Golden, yeah. Everybody else, I think, is, to your point, it's make them say no if you're already established. I personally don't see a reason why Tommy Lloyd would leave Arizona. Perfect place, running that division out there. Weather's always perfect. And Arizona also's got a rich history as well. I get it. Nobody is off your board when you're in North Carolina, though, but I can't see why Tommy Lloyd would mess around and leave.
I think Tommy Lloyd is probably at the top of the realistic options.
Wow.
While still kind of being a little unrealistic, to your point. Like, I think it may end up just being TJ Otzelberger and you're done with it. And honestly, they could do a heck of a lot worse than TJ Otzelberger in Iowa State. And maybe that'll distract him on Friday night in Chicago.
Savage is so real. This is probably a shot at us football players. You see that in the chat too. His last comment was next to the last comment, last two.
No, go ahead, hit me.
Todd Golden isn't Lane Kiffin. Todd would be a dummy to leave.
Well, there you go. Not a lot of people are Lane Kiffin, thankfully, in this world. We don't need a world full of Lane Kiffins running around.
I know. Football coaches, I feel like, have conditioned us to just, they'll leave at the drop of a hat because the school has a bigger name and stuff like that. We're just Wild West in the college football world.
Preds with a 5-goal first period last night. We'll talk more about that here in hour two later on because we got Austin Price coming up next. But 5 games in a row. Nashville Predators on a roll. We'll get back to that at the end here of hour two. But when we come back, VolQuest's Austin Price talking spring football and starting with March Madness and reaction to Tennessee's first weekend win, previewing the second weekend as well. Austin Price after this. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Is your home's air conditioning ready to keep up with the warmer months ahead? We're about to make that switch. Cooler air was in the area earlier this week. Now the spring and, dare I say, summer air is on the way. League Company has you covered. League Company's team of professional technicians will give your home's AC a tune-up as well as seasonal cleaning and maintenance to help you stay ahead of the heat and humidity. And now is the time to go ahead and get League Company out there before the heat and humidity is up in the 90s and touching 100 degrees as the summer gets closer. You got to make sure your AC unit's ready. Don't let your AC fail this spring and summer. Head to LeeCompany.com to schedule your appointment today. League Company has over 80 years of experience, trusted since 1944. They're available 24/7 and online at LeeCompany.com. That's League Company, all you need. When the glass breaks, it is time to talk Vols on Ramon and Will with an early visit today. From VolQuest's Austin Price, Ramon Foster, and Will Bowling with our good friend Austin Price, who joins us now with hoops, with football, with spring ball, with a lot to get to. Austin, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
We're good. What was the biggest positive for you, aside from just advancing, about the way Tennessee was able to advance against Virginia over the weekend?
I think it's, finding ways to win when Nate Ament doesn't score. It's finding ways to win when, you maybe don't have your A game. And that, I don't mean Nate Ament's the A game. I just mean when things aren't going perfect, still finding ways to gut through it. How many times has Tennessee blown a lead this season? There they were. Virginia hits that three. They take the lead. Tennessee comes right back down, and reestablishes the lead. The guts that J.P. Estrella had to shoot that kind of quarter shot from 10 or 12 feet when the game was tied there with in the late moments, I thought was gutsy. Obviously, seeing Jacoby Gillespie step up there and make 6 straight free throws to close out the game was fantastic. I just thought they found ways to win, maybe when they weren't perfect, and I think that's a good sign because I don't think this team early in the year could have done that.
Austin Price of VolQuest with us. What stands out to you about the matchup with Iowa State late Friday night? Probably going to start around 10:30 Eastern. What do you like or not like about the way Tennessee matches up with them on Friday night?
Yeah, you got time to go to the Shoney's breakfast bar. I think it starts.
That's right.
And make it over there for, you might miss a minute or two, but, not much. I think this is going to boil down to, the defense on both teams and who makes shots, who makes open shots, who has defensive busts. Tennessee got away with a defensive bust on that inbounds there with, 20 seconds to go or whatever that, could have really cost them. They can't do that. Iowa State, really, really good defensive team. They smothered. Early on, Kentucky's having some success. They had the lead. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, we're going to play defense, turn on, and vacuum seal. It was impressive just how they smothered Kentucky as they run away from the Wildcats there in the second half. And, I think which team has the fewest amount of defensive breakdowns could be the team that advances on to the Elite Eight.
No doubt about it. We're joined by Austin Price this morning, VolQuest. Austin, man, how has Rick Barnes built this program over time? With what's been most impressive about it to you, with how Tennessee has just been a constant in the Sweet 16 and just I guess the standards just being raised to where, the regular season may not go the way you want it to, and there's going to be a bunch of complaining and moaning and groaning. But when it comes down to really finishing and leaving something behind on the year, how has he done that and how impressive is it from Coach Barnes?
I think it's super impressive. Obviously, 4 straight Sweet 16s. Coach Barnes, with a good year next year, could, become Tennessee's all-time wins leader, coaching basketball. And, he would, own, 3 things, over the course of, the 3 different schools. At Clemson, he'd have 100 wins, which isn't an all-time wins leader there, but he's the all-time wins leader at Texas. He's the all-time wins leader at Tennessee. And, he's done it his way. He's adapted. I think most people thought, Ramon, with the new era, that he would be like some of the other coaches that have fallen by the wayside, Jay Wright, Roy Williams, that just didn't want to do this era. He's adapted. He's like, that's cool. All right. And I've seen him personally adapt in his philosophy on, wanting everybody to make around the same amount of money early on in the process to now, okay, he understands there's a pecking order, just like, there is in football, certain positions make more, certain players make more. He understands that, it's a business. He doesn't fault the kids for wanting money. I think he thinks time and place, right? I don't think he wants anybody talking money right now. Let's get through the end of the season, and then you guys can renegotiate your contract. So let's not worry about anything about next year's money while this season's being played. Which makes sense. I just think it's impressive how he's adapted and adjusted and continues to do so. And again, salt of the earth guy, really good basketball coach. Anybody that wants to nitpick stuff in March is silly to me. I mean, the guy's won big game after big game. I think deep down he probably wishes Kentucky had won, because I think he'd like to do what he did last year and avenge those 2 regular season losses with a win in March against them. And he's done it different ways. He's obviously brought in Dalton Connect and Chaz Lanier and Jacoby Gillespie. He's also done it with homegrown, developed talent like Jemai Meshack and Zakai Ziegler. And, you even look at on this year's team, a guy like J.P. Estrella, who came in here and has developed himself. You look at guys like Amari Evans and Dwayne Brown, and those guys are freshmen that he plans on being the next versions of Zakai Ziegler and Jemai Meshack that, he just kind of builds from the ground up. But he's doing it his way, but he's certainly adapted in an era when a lot of older coaches have failed to adapt.
No doubt. Man, Austin, every major sport has got something going on campus right now, from football, basketball, baseball, softball, Lady Vols, basketball not included in that, but oh well. With that being said, man, it's a great time to be on campus, and it's a lot of newness too. What's different about Tennessee practices so far with the new staff members that you've kind of run into and seen their interactions as well?
Obviously, it's early on, but just how the defense does things during the course of the open periods when we're there, and then I think just kind of the aggressiveness, the looks that Jim Knowles has thrown at a couple of young quarterbacks. I mean, it's not been for the faint of heart. I mean, he's done a lot of exotic things when they've got into some team periods, and brought the house from different angles and those type of things that I think maybe weren't there necessarily before. I think it's been good for this team. Derek Owings has been good for this team. They've pushed through. You don't see as many guys missing practice for little nicks and bruises. I mean, I think there's a little more toughness to this team at this point in time, and we'll see if that continues. Obviously, a long way to go. Rome's not built in a day, but there's a foundation here with this group that certainly I think gives this team and these coaches a lot of optimism.
Austin Price of VolQuest on 3, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Austin, what are your first impressions seeing George McIntyre and Faison Brandon throw side by side so far from what you've seen in practice?
They both throw it really well. Obviously, we talked about it. George has time on task. He's been in the system for a year. That helps him. Faison, physically, is a little bigger than George. That helps him. Both have to continue to progress on their weaknesses. I think there's, some nice optimism about Ryan Staub that it can be a nice piece if they need to go that direction. But ultimately, I still think this is a 2-man race between McIntyre and Faison Brandon. And the biggest thing is which player can show the coaching staff that they process it, get the ball out of their hand, and make the right reads most effectively. I think the quarterback that can do that is the quarterback that will eventually be Tennessee's starting quarterback.
Austin, you guys had the report about David Hobbs' injury, taking him out of spring. How concerning is this, Austin, for a room with a lot of inexperience already, and how serious is this for David Hobbs at this point?
Well, it's not serious as far as him missing any kind of real time. I mean, he'll be back in, 6 weeks. I mean, he just missed the rest of spring. I mean, he's just a, foot, broken foot. I mean, this stuff happens. I mean, he'll be back and be ready to go. And, it's probably more frustrating for him, Will, because he can't seem to stay healthy. He never has anything super serious. It's just kind of like, oh, this little injury knocks me out for this amount of time. Oh, this little injury knocks me out for this amount of time. He's not had a true off season. And that, I think, is probably the most frustrating thing for the coaching staff, for him. Obviously, Rodney Garner's not out there right now and should be, and hopefully will be back next week if all things continue to progress and trend the right way. But I think for Hobbs, he really needed these practices because he's not had a true off season. So it's frustrating, I think, for the staff and for him that he will not get to be a part of that.
Man, Austin, reading some of the content on VolQuest, it seems like Ori Williams has gotten a real introduction to Derek Owens, the strength and conditioning coach, man. But how has he looked at right tackle and in general, that group coming together right now? They still competing at a high level as they were in week one?
Absolutely. Nicest kid on the planet, wants to win that job, is motivated to win the job at right tackle. And we'll see where things go. I think he sees tomorrow's scrimmage as the first real chance for him to establish himself as the potential starter at right tackle. And, obviously Tennessee would love for him to go and take that job. But he's got to go do it and got to continue to prove it. But he is a big human and, again, a super nice kid. It kind of reminds me of a young Ramon Foster as far as his niceness, as far as his big smile, like jovial, those type things. Maybe you're just like that now, and I'm misremembering you actually as a player.
Future Sports Talk radio host Ori Williams is what I'm hearing.
He could be. I'm telling you, man, he can carry on a conversation. He's a big personality. Love this kid.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, he's got to go out and win the job. Tennessee's got some options there if he were not to win the job. But I think for him, kind of getting an introduction to Owings and getting the toughness that the staff is desiring is a good thing as they build from the ground up there.
It's interesting you bring it up about Ori. I'm going off script a little bit, but legitimately, like sometimes players have to learn how to be jerks. And it seems like Derek Owens is probably the right amount of seasoning to his game that's kind of bringing that out a little bit. I'm just reading a little bit of, what Hubs put it on VolQuest, and he seems like, this is a real eye-opener to him to finally be in a place to where he can compete, Austin. I agree with you on that type of stuff. Usually the real big kids, young athletes, have to figure out how to be jerks. And I'll be honest with you, Austin, I did. I was having a ball just playing football. No, there's another gear, and I'm glad to hear that he's kind of taking that on a little bit, man, in this competition this spring.
Yeah, I never knew you as a jerk. I just always knew you as kind of that, that big lovable teddy bear.
Yeah, you got to learn how to be one, and I did. Once I did spring of 2007, Austin, there was no turning back, man. Coach Former kind of brought it out me. I'll be honest.
Now, like Ron Slay, he could kind of go back and forth. You know what I mean? Like he could be like the big JoJo, big personality, smiling, laughing, cutting up, and then mean dog.
Dunk on you and tell you about it afterwards. That was the beauty. Absolutely.
No doubt. Austin, man, Coach Andrew Jackson has come out and said that Chaz Coleman is everything is advertised. What stands out about him this year?
He's bigger. You can tell he's put on the proper weight, and he just looks good. Now, again, doing it in some practice time, doing it in practice individual and all that is one thing. He still missed a lot of time in the off season as they were working around a few small things here and there. But I mean, he looks the part. And I know he was up over 250. I think they were trying to get him to around 260 because they thought he could play at that weight and maintain his speed. If that's the case, then watch out. Because, I mean, if he can be the speed guy at that weight, then there's a real chance this guy could really go boom. Now, again, he's still going to go out and prove it. He's still very young in his football journey. It's not like he's got a ton of experience. It's not like he has, he does have time on task in the system. If you've not checked that off the bingo card, I've now used it twice today. But he's got to go out and be consistent and show it and prove it long term. I think that's the one thing he's not done is just the experience part of being a high-level college football player. Obviously flashes and has a lot of high-end upside, but you've got to go out and show that you are who they think you are.
Also, we've got time on task. We've got stacking days. That is the name of the game this time
I never used that phrase. That's a Hubs phrase.
I know. I love it. It's true. You got stack days. Austin, on the way out, any surprises with the transfer portal exit so far for Kim Caldwell and the Lady Vols, and what specifically will they be looking for this time around in the transfer portal as they hope to maybe have some more success in the transfer portal than they did with this last team?
This is easy. The easiest question you've asked me. The lone surprise is there's not been more, and the answer of what they're looking for, everything.
Everything, right. Yep. Can you make a three? Come on down. We've got a uniform for you.
I know. I mean, listen, if you're going to have a team that shoots a bunch of threes, you've got to have players that can make threes. This team didn't have enough shooters that can make open shots. I mean,
what a concept.
And I think that was the frustrating part of the team. You look back a year ago, that was a team she did not construct. She constructed this team, and it was a disaster. The team a year ago, she was just kind of, hey, these are my players because I arrived, and added a few, had Spearman and those type. But, like, some of those players, Puckett, Tess Darby, those were Kelly Harper players, but I think they kind of fit her system, so to speak, as far as having shooters better than they actually realized, and maybe she even realized, just because you've got to have people that can knock down open shots if you're going to shoot the amount of threes that she appears to want to shoot in her system. Mm-hmm. They didn't have enough shooters. It was just freelance, free ball, and clang, and that led to 8 straight losses and 16 and 14 overall. So, again, you've got to have more shooters. And I think that to answer the question, yeah, they need everything, but they really need people that can shoot the basketball. And to me, you may have to sacrifice a little bit in athleticism, because I think she's trying to go real athletic with this year's team. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how athletic you are if other teams are equally athletic and you can't shoot. Like, you've got to have shooters, and she's got to have 2 or 3 shooters on her roster that you have to legitimately, like, okay, we have to know where they are at all times, right? And so I think that's kind of where they are.
Austin Price of VolQuest on 3, our guest this morning. A little bit of hoops, a little bit of football, a little bit of everything with Austin each and every week here on the show. VolQuest.com, the authority for all things Vols, of course, as always. I appreciate it, Austin. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Austin.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price with us, talking some hoops and football this morning, Ramon. Anytime you can compare a team's play to I don't know, like a pickup game at the Y. It's probably time to change the direction of your program a little bit. A lot of freelancing, a lot of threes, maybe some players that shouldn't be shooting as many threes or open looks as they were. Athleticism part, that's probably where the analogy ends. They were really athletic last year. Pickup game at the Y, you're not going to see the same level of athleticism. But aside from that, unfortunately, the Lady Vols were playing a lot of games that looked like pickup games at the Y at the end of the season this past year.
Did you, real quick, did you appreciate her honesty and her, big pressers that she had?
Yeah.
I mean, it got a lot of hate.
I appreciate the honesty in the postseason, after the last game press conference. Like, maybe I don't when you're roasting your team after a loss to South Carolina. But we ask for coaches to be real with us all the time. Then I feel like as a society, we get mad when they do. So, no, I didn't have any issue with it.
None. I absolutely loved it. There was a lot of people, of course, everybody wants the ghost of Pat Summitt back, and you're just not going to get that. And I understand the standard as well, but I feel like Pat losing is not a concept, but the fact that she will own up to her mistakes, I appreciate that about Kim. Now it's time to see the adjustment.
Yep, I'm with you. Coming up, we talked earlier about a player that Ramon played on the same field as, but didn't play against, who's sticking around. There is one player that Ramon would have played against who announced he was retiring yesterday. What was it like to play against Levante David? We'll ask Ramon about that coming up next.
This is a different court, Blair.
Same result, Slay.
Okay, Blair. See, that's Tyler Tanner. See, Tyler Tanner's in the house now.
Let's see what you got. Jerry's out, Blair.
Blair, come on. Okay, Blair, just come sit down. Come on, Blair, stop. You're going to get hurt. Blair, get off the court. That's enough.
What's the verdict, Blair? The courtroom is where I play ball.
Boy, Durham, injury law. And that ain't got no roof.
Wrapping up the first half of the show on your Wednesday morning edition of Ramon and Will. Rhett Bryan's still to come at 9 o'clock, previewing the NFL draft from the interior offensive line perspective. Ramon, what was it like blocking Levante David?
Well, the answer is if you could get to him in time. That's the problem
Chasing
with him,
ghost,
man.
Levante
Chasing
David.
Ghost. Absolutely, man. Looking back at his time, this will sum it up perfectly. He's one of those players that was so good at his position that the team kept him around even in bad years. Like Tampa has some lean years with him, and usually at a non-premium position like his, at inside linebacker, off-ball linebacker, teams find ways to through new coaches, find new guys because you're a part of the old regime that was losing there. It wasn't always Tom Brady. It wasn't always winning for Tampa. Like it was times in which that group had quarterback hell. Like they could not find a guy, and he was a constant on that team. And just he was a player, man, that you always had to have your eye on. Whether he was dropping in coverage, he's picked off some of the best, or time and time again, you see him and he wasn't that big. He was just efficient and athletic enough to just move and be smart enough to know which angles to take. Like he's the type of player that was good before the real HD, real clear, high resolution, like tape came out. Like that's how long he's been doing it. He can get behind the line of scrimmage, and he can like drop back in coverage and just create chaos. He was one of those peanut punch type of guys too. He's not just trying to tackle you, or he's not just trying to take on me at guard position. He's looking around me or like really like skating to the sideline to make a tackle and knock a ball out. That was him. He was a weapon. To me, he's weapon X on any defense that he's been a part of. It's a shame that he didn't make more first team All-Pros. He didn't get more accolades, but again, Tampa wasn't always this version of Tampa that we've seen as of late. He was good even in the bad years for that team.
So what you're telling me is that if you have film of you playing in the NFL in standard def, it's probably time to hang it up.
It is. Yeah.
Levante David, the VCR tapes of his 14-year NFL career, very impressive. 36-year-old linebacker announced his retirement yesterday. He's got a lot of tackles and tackles for loss in 720p instead of 1080p, so it's time to call it a day.
He is one of the type of guys, when I'm speaking about Sonny Styles, this is the version of it right here. When you're this good, you're this athletic, and can continually add to your professionalism, like his ability to create fumbles and turnovers and knowing how to be good in coverage, Will, I think is an understatement of his ability to play linebacker.
To that point, Levante David was drafted out of Nebraska with the 58th overall pick in the 2012 NFL draft.
Nebraska. Think about that.
Well, I think the point is that he's drafted in the second round.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is a strong devil's advocate part of it.
This is why premium positions are premium positions.
This is true.
Because, and it's not just because of Levante David. We can go down the list of many strong inside linebackers playing in the league right now. You can find ones that'll stick around for a decade with you on day two.
Yeah, for sure. You can. And identifying them, though, is usually the issue. I think when we speak about the non-premium positions, teams are looking for just the guy that's just jumping off the charts, and that matters too. But what really matters is the tape. How efficient are you in the way you move on the field? Can you take on blocks, in which Levante could, even at his size? Like, he wasn't small, but he wasn't super big either. And just the other part for him is the ability to take care of his body and stay available to his team too. Like, that matters, man. It wasn't many times that he had season-ending injuries. He was always available for his group. And you want to talk about guys that speak about playing with him too, like the ultimate leader type. I don't know if he's going to get that Hall of Fame nod, but he most definitely is in a ring of honor, a Hall of Honor for Tampa Bay. He easily in that conversation.
The top linebacker contracts in the NFL at off-ball linebackers start with Roquan Smith of the Baltimore Ravens. There's a trend here, Ramon. Roquan Smith was the 8th overall pick in 2018. He does not play for the team that drafted him. Chicago Bears drafted him in 2018. Second highest paid inside linebacker, Fred Warner. 3rd round pick, 2018. number 70 overall. Zach Bond, third highest paid inside linebacker. Philadelphia Eagles, third round pick. Pick 74, 2020 NFL draft. Nick Bolton is an inside linebacker out of Missouri for the Kansas City Chiefs. The next highest paid inside linebacker, second round pick.
Okay.
Pick 58 in 2021. Quay Walker, with his new deal with the Las Vegas Raiders, rounds out the top 5 now. He was a first round pick, 22nd overall in 2022. Does not play for the team that drafted him any longer.
Wow.
The only first round picks at the top of that list at inside linebacker are on new teams now because their teams feel like, okay, well, we can just go draft another one. Find one on day 2. The sweet spot for top level inside linebacker contracts is being a second or third round pick in that top group of 5 to 10 players.
Which is why, as a show, I'll say this too before going back to that topic. That's the reason we put so much emphasis on like the first round pick. But the nuts and bolts of your team is 2, 3, 4, and 5 as well. I'm not dismissing
no question
round 6 and 7.
Cedric Gray's fourth round pick.
That's what I'm saying. Like 2 through 5 still matter for teams. Like everybody wants to hit on their first round draft picks. But to your point, Will, you just called it out. There's a lot of quality to be given. And I just also look at you know the way the league tells this story. Mm-hmm. You mentioned it before. I've talked about the running backs and like how the top guys usually don't benefit their original team. You just did the exact same thing when it comes down to linebackers. Like non-premium spots become stars at second round, third round, fourth round picks as well. The NFL is tricky, man, and how you justify keeping your job is basically what this is.
The Nashville Predators are a wagon. We'll talk about their latest win coming up next. Plus, there has already been one name, Ramon, who has turned down North Carolina. And it's not even 9 a.m. in Chapel Hill yet. We'll dive into that coming up next.
8:02, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Nashville Predators continued their hot streak, making it to 5 games in their win streak last night as they beat the San Jose Sharks 6-3. 5 first-period goals and 6 different goal scorers in the game, including Philip Forsberg, who now has 12 points in the 5-game win streak. The Preds are 3 points behind Utah, who hold the first top wild card spot in the Western Conference with a game in hand. Next, the Preds face the New Jersey Devils Thursday night with a 7 o'clock puck drop at Bridgestone Arena. Some college basketball news last night. Per multiple reports, North Carolina fired head coach Hubert Davis after 5 seasons, where he held a 125-54 record and also reached a Final Four back in 2022. The Tar Heels were knocked out of the first round of this year's NCAA tournament by VCU in a shocking upset in overtime after giving up a 19-point lead. In NFL news yesterday, 41-year-old quarterback Joe Flacco is returning for a 19th NFL season to the Cincinnati Bengals. He signed a 1-year, $6 million deal with an extra $3 million available with incentives. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
We've got something on every Sweet 16 game coming up here in 15 minutes on Ramon and Will as hour number 3 gets started. Kicking off your Wednesday morning, 615-737-1045 is the number. 11-year NFL veteran, involved for life, Ramon Foster, myself, Will Boulding, Justin Hawkins, our producer. The Nashville Predators are streaking 5 in a row with 5 first-period goals last night. A 6-3 win over the San Jose Sharks, and the Preds have 77 points, now 7 ahead of San Jose, to keep hold of the second wild card spot. Philip Forsberg, Matthew Wood, Roman Josi, Luke Evangelista, and Brady Shea, all with goals in the opening 20 minutes. They're rolling. Hawkins Hockey Minute. What the heck's gotten into these guys? What the Hawk has gotten into the Predators?
Come on, man. Come down from the bird's nest. Tell us something, Hawk.
What the Hawk?
What the Hawk? I love that one. Gosh, these last 10 games, they're 7-2-1 with 15 points. This offense is flying. They're not being spectacular on defense, and UC Saros is still giving up goals. But the last 10 games has been spectacular. They're one of the top teams in the league in these last 10 games. 15 points, like I said, they're +6 in goal differential, which ranks 6th in the NHL in that time span. They've scored 22 goals, but here's the kicker. 16.2 goals has been the expected goals, which basically means it's the likelihood of a shot that's actually going to be scored. Mm-hmm. They're finding the tough angles, and they're scoring goals they're not supposed to score. They're winning these games by using their grit and their tenacity. Philip Forsberg has come on like it's white on rice. It's absolutely insane how he's playing these last 5 games. Like you just said, 12. Did you say that? I know I said it in my update. It's 12 points in the last 5 games. But
I did not say that.
He's got 15 points in this 10-game streak here. 6 goals, 9 assists. That's 7th in the NHL in that span.
Not bad.
And also in that 10 games. So I did the last 10 games. That was kind of like their little revenue that I used there. 7 out of 28 power play goals for a 25% there. They're playing well. Good. They're playing well.
It's very good.
Yeah. 7 out of 25 is very good.
7 out of 28. It is very good because the typical NHL team is probably going to average in a season. It's probably right around like 18%, 20%.
Okay.
So right now they're a little bit above average right now.
Man, I felt like you missing I'm talking about big moment right there. You could have said own like Donkey Kong, man. I was expecting that
own
one,
like
Hawk.
Donkey Kong.
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed that one right there.
I appreciate you humbling me.
No, absolutely not, man. It's words. We understand what's the main objective of all of them. But what's happened? What's changed?
You know, to be honest, I don't know. I was talking about this a little bit yesterday. I think this was before you joined us at the house yesterday. But the way that Andrew Brunette, the head coach for the Predators, has been able to garner this locker room and just rally them from this trade deadline where Barry Trotz just sent about 6-7 players, whatever it was, and to accumulate some draft picks for not just 2026, but 27, 28, and and so forth. But the way that they got rid of some of the depth pieces and now are just relying on some of the veteran stars like Steven Stamkos, Philip Forsberg, Jonathan Marchessault, Brady Shea, Roman Josi, the likes of those, and then using the younger guys for the depth pieces, they're playing like a well-oiled machine right now. They're playing like a team, which is not what you got to the start of the season. They had a little bit of a ramp-up period as 2025 ended, and then as soon as 2026, January and February, they kind of hit a little down spell. They were coming right back up right now. And this is right where you need to be when it comes to playoff time here in about a month because they only have about 11 games left to play.
I like it.
That's what I was wondering. We'll see. Will they have a Stanley Cup run again? So it's something I know the city's been begging for.
I don't know. I don't know if those expectations are fair, but I mean, I honestly, how far do they have to get to justify their lack of selling at the trade deadline?
I mean,
if they make the playoffs, was it worth it?
Yeah,
I don't think it is. If they just make the playoffs, then bow out in the first round, I would have rather sold and have a fire sale, and everything must go. Prices have never been lower. If they win a playoff series,
right?
If they win a playoff series, is it worth it? That's probably where I start to say, like, okay, fair enough.
I mean, at the start of the season, you didn't expect them to make the playoffs.
No, definitely not.
But if they win a series, hell yeah, give me that. I'd sign up for that all day long because now you're on the upward trajectory, knowing that you've got Ryan O'Reilly, Forsberg, Stamkos, Shea, Marchessault. All these guys are not just here for just this year. They got at least another couple seasons left to play. And these young guys that are coming up, you've got the draft because you've sold these picks, plus the guys that are in Milwaukee that are waiting to come up.
And so many of those picks, though, are like 27 and 28. I mean, like they're future picks that aren't going to be NHL players until 2030.
And baseball is you've got to increase your pipeline, and that's what the Predators are doing here. That's what they're going to do, and that's what you have to be excited for. So if they can make the playoffs and win a series, you would take that all day long.
My issue still, though, is that they've not sold to the extent of finding that first line scorer and forward, because you've got to really go all in and sell if you want to be able to pick up the first round. And that's what they've always needed. It is the history of the Nashville Predators. They promote from within. They believe in their own culture. They run it back. They keep the band together. And they've always had good goaltending. They've never had that number one first line elite scorer.
No, you thought you had that a couple years ago when both Forsberg and Matt Duchene both had 40-goal seasons, but then that was almost like a one-off. Forsberg has done it once since, but Forsberg has never reached that echelon of a Draisaitl, McDavid, Kucherov, like the likes of them. They've never had a forward like that, and I don't know when they would be able to because they don't really ever pick in the top five. They finally had a pick in the top five. And there was questions raised of why did you draft Brady Martin?
Yeah. Interesting. We'll see. We'll see. Very interesting time over there. Andrew Burnett has played or coached himself probably off a hot seat. You got Barry Trotz moving on. You got a new GM that's going to come in. You've got new ownership that's kind of leading that search for the first time. What do they value? Do they finally go outside the family? I'll believe it when I see it. Like, it just a lot of things to sort through, and a very interesting time for the Preds, who've kind of just gone off script by winning so much, and now put themselves in position to make the playoffs.
What happens at the beginning of the season? Like, is hockey in the same conversation, or is just that this team starts slow? Like, is it too many games, like an NBA season, with what they deal with? Because the way I thought it earlier in the season, I felt like the world was coming to an end with the Predators, and now it's like a totally new season. Like, is it too many games where you just have to pace yourself?
I don't think it's that necessarily. It's more of a chemistry thing. Your top-line guys of Steven Stamkos, Ryan O'Reilly, Philip Forsberg, Marchessault, they weren't really playing much as a team like they are currently. Okay. But also, you didn't have your top guys scoring. They weren't doing it at the same time, and you're finally getting that. I mean, like I said, Philip Forsberg in this 5-game win streak has 12 points. He's woke up. And that's what you need from a guy like that, because you're paying a lot of money to these top guys, and you have not gotten top-line money out of these top-line guys. But you're getting it now. Okay. And that's what they needed as they make this last month of playoff push.
Question of the chat says, so why are you losing? Why are you for losing and tanking and selling in hockey, but not to lose a meaningless game at the end of an NFL season for better draft position? Weird. First of all, I don't think those are totally the same things because this past year, the Titans already had their quarterback, and I want that quarterback to win. In this case, the Nashville Predators don't yet have that young first-line winger who's here that is playing on the team right now, who's going to be here super long-term that I want contributing, first and foremost. Secondly, never said I was for them losing. Said I was for them selling. If they sell and win, great. But what I don't want is to be in this middle ground where you're not committing one way or another. Obviously, I'm always going to cheer for my teams to win games. I have never once said that I would prefer for them to lose. I'm simply asking the question, at what point do they have to get to the postseason to justify their lack of activity? And I think you still got to go pretty far to justify holding on to Ryan O'Reilly the way you did. Right. Barry Trotz coming out in the media saying, like, well, we felt like it was important for him to be here for the group. Well, this group of players is probably not going to be here once you do get things really up and running again. So who is that really important for? Just keeping butts in the seats and the bottom line? Like, and if that's the case, fine. I get that. Like, you want to keep butts in the seats? That's a business model that you can choose. You have that prerogative. Fine. But I also don't think you can compare apples and oranges to say that, the way hockey drafts and the way prospects take 2, 3, 4 years to ever see the ice in the NHL is the same thing as the immediate impact that you get in football. They've got to go find the top line forward, and I still don't think they're super close to being able to do that.
I see this as two things. One, the Titans versus the Predators. The Predators have a playoff caliber team. The Titans did not have that last season. The Titans,
it's not the same situation,
right? But also, if you sell and you tank, what are you getting in the first round in an NFL draft? What are you getting in the NHL in a first round? Well, there's usually one guy every NHL draft that can start the next season as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, however old they are when they draft.
Right.
But in the NFL, 32 picks are going to probably start year one.
Yeah.
You don't get that in the NHL. So it's hard. It's harder to sell.
I mean, probably 60.
You're right.
There are second, third, fourth round picks that are starting at the quote unquote non-premium positions everywhere. Yeah, right.
But once you get to pick number 2 in the NHL, they're probably not going to start at least for another year or two.
That's the thing. Like, I want these players on the Titans learning how to win. On the flip side, if you sell and tank, I'm not going to root against them, but like those players on the team most of them are not still going to be here by the time the guys you're tanking for are on the team. So the quote-unquote stench of losing, I don't think is as significant for guys who are here like Ryan O'Reilly and Steven Stamkos, who probably aren't going to play a whole lot with the guys you draft in 2027 with the picks that you traded and acquired this time around. So that's the difference. It's not the same situation whatsoever, in my opinion. You see Brad Stevens already said no to North Carolina?
He did? No, I did not see that.
Yeah, Matt Norlander with the report from a few minutes ago says Brad Stevens, who is atop the list of targets, has already removed himself from consideration for the UNC job, sources told CBS Sports. No surprise, of course, but notable all the same as Carolina starts its search to replace Hubert Davis.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. Well, it's going to happen the same thing that happened in football for guys like that. Like, new contracts will be dished out as well this time of the year for these type of hires. North Carolina's, they got to go get it, and they got to make sure they swing big as well. I still look at Byington as a valid choice there. It's just a matter of how big they want to swing on this one. He's still a project for the most part, but I think he fits the mold a little bit better. It's going to be fascinating to see who leaves their program, Will, in today's world.
Yep. I think it's going to be interesting. I think Mark Byington is in the tier of coaches who make a lot of sense. I think he's probably in the middle to bottom of that tier, considering he's not been a Power 4 coach for very long. Or high major. We don't say Power 4, I guess, in college hoops, because there are so many high major conferences because the Big East is so good. But I think that it doesn't get past Tommy Lloyd or TJ Holtzberger.
I would say, okay, understood. Like, I would say it's pretty bold for North Carolina to be doing this search while teams are still playing as well. Like you mentioned, of course, Iowa State situation like that, that's immediately a distraction. The same as football with Lane Kiffin. Now, we will see what these coaches' intentions are. These type of jobs don't usually come open this often for this type of impact of a school. So I'm fascinated to see where they go, and if they do go get a coach that's still playing ball. That's kind of crazy. Do you think if Cal hadn't had this success at Arkansas, he'd be in consideration? Like, is it that type of coach, Calipari? You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
Like
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to be a name. Be even bigger. I think they went in-house last time, or it went with the alum. They got to swing big.
Coming up, something on every Sweet 16 game. I have done research, Ramon. I have found nuggets. I'm a nerd. No one's surprised. I'm going to give you the key matchups in every Sweet 16 game after this. Ramon Will rolls on at hour 3 on 104.5 The Zone, talking hoops. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling at Ramon and Will on Twitter. Ramon, the East region and the coaches and programs that are going to be sharing a Sweet 16 arena is why God created the NCAA tournament.
This is why right here, right?
The
Give us
eighth
the
day
good news.
was there was a day of rest, and then John Shire will coach against Rick Pitino, followed by Tom Izzo against Dan Hurley, and it was good. I'm bordering on sacrilege, but I'm just going to stay on this side of the line. I've got something on every NCAA tournament game. Look, this is the best thing that we have in sports, the NCAA tournament. I will argue with a wall. I'll fight anyone on this. I love the NCAA tournament.
Did you just growl right there?
Yeah, what? Yeah, no, I love it. It's going into the register I had on my home run call last night. Love. Gone.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's what I'm talking about. You for as much, we go back and forth with Savage, man. You do say this time of the year is the best time of the year for sports, man.
Oh, it's Christmas.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
I got to give you that.
Best sports month is October. Best sports weekend is March Madness weekend number 1. Weekend number 2, probably a close second. I like the sensory overload of games everywhere in the first weekend. A little bit more than I do the second weekend, but the games are better in the second weekend.
You like October over March?
Absolutely. Are you kidding?
Really?
So much basketball.
Are we going to debate this right now?
That's what I'm saying.
October is the best sports month. I thought we all agreed on this.
October. We spoke about this before. Now, you mentioned best weekend, though. This is such a summertime topic, but I'm going to go ahead and just jump in since you started it off.
Okay.
I will say opening weekend for NFL is probably the more exciting weekend, though. I mean, we wait months for the real thing.
We do.
And we talk about it leading all the way up to when it actually happened. And now we might infringe upon Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays with a Monday.
If you keep talking, your brother may not join us Friday at 9:20. I just hope you know.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but 4 days of straight, you can do a 4-screen of basketball starting at like 11 o'clock in the morning all the way till Sunday at like 11 o'clock at night.
Nonstop. That's what I love.
I mean, that's probably the best weekend, though.
But all the hopes and dreams of opening weekend for the NFL season,
but you got one game a time, though.
Yeah, if you lose that first game, though, we're just going to say week 1 is a liar, and then there's 16 more
exactly.
of them. And soon to be 17 more of them.
It's more addictive than
the pure hopes and dreams are ended in March Madness.
Yeah, that's right. The drama of the tournament. The fact that you could have a half-court shot go all the way down and back out, and a season ends just like that. That's crazy. It's crazy. You're not getting that week 1 of the NFL season.
No, let that breathe. Let that breathe.
I mean, Vandy, Nebraska is the game
scenario?
of the tournament so far. Who had that scenario?
You're awful.
Hey, it's me. I'm the problem.
Yes,
I'm the
you are.
problem, and I admit that.
No, October has playoff baseball. October has the beginning of the NHL season. October has conference football and rivalry football in college, and it has good NFL football. Doesn't the NBA season start in October as well?
Yeah.
October is the best sports.
You're about to get into MLS playoffs, too, if you enjoy that as well.
October is that doesn't happen until
November?
Till like mid-November, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Early November.
Okay. Well, still, you got MLS play.
Yeah,
if you like that.
Absolutely.
We love it on this show.
I enjoyed October even. Just because it's the first leaves to fall off the trees, too. By the way, I didn't tell you guys, I'm cutting down the trees by my yard to take these birds away from me. Just so you know. Not really. If you hadn't noticed, ash trees around the state of Tennessee are getting killed by this beetle that is absolutely wrecking them right now, and it weakens the trees. Well, you'll see this whenever, you know what I'm saying, you buy a cottage somewhere, but ash trees are very...
I'm going to go cut down some trees and build one for Peyton. That's actually part of our arrangement when we get married. I'm going to go build a cottage.
Don't get ash trees. We got a lot of dead ones around us. I'm about to get rid of a few, and hopefully the birds leave with them. But moving on.
Here we go. NCAA tournament, Sweet 16, previewing the games. Duke and St. John's on Friday at 6:10 p.m. Ken Pom projects a 75-68 Duke win over the Johnnies. Duke is 129th in offensive turnover rate. They are about to get blitzed by St. John's defense, Ramon. It was aggressive. Duke had 17 turnovers against TCU. Rick Pitino teams, very active defensively. They will pressure Caden Boozer, the backcourt for Duke, all game. Here's the thing that's tough on this one. St. John's is not a great shooting team, and Duke is the number one team in college basketball in defensive efficiency in Ken Pom. They also allow the ninth best rate of offensive rebounds. Duke does. They are good on the boards. They're good inside. I just feel like I like their length, Ramon, against a St. John's team that's going to have to make a lot of tough twos and also make enough threes to give themselves a chance in this game against a bigger Duke team.
I wonder how the refs are going to allow this game to be officiated because of St. John's aggressiveness defensively, too. How healthy is Duke going into this matchup, Will, as well, is another question, too. So if you can make this a tough game, and I feel like a lot of these games have this storyline, if one squad make it more tougher than the other, then they have a shot to win. I pick St. John's as an upset on this one just because Pitino and his experience. And, I mean, it's Duke, it's St. John's with Pitino. And whoever wins the refs and allow their style to win, and how much Duke plays into, health plays into it as well. I hope it goes down to the wire. I got St. John's, but I believe in Duke.
Okay. I like it. Winner of that one gets the winner in the East region of Michigan State and UConn. We are almost at the end of the month of Izzo. We'll see how much that helps Michigan State because the calendar, of course, as we know, goes January, February, Izzo, April, May, June, July, and so on. If you have not watched Terrace Reed play this season, you are going to enjoy his just unbelievable play down low. His box score, Ramon, against Furman, he had 31 points and 27 rebounds.
God, dog.
31 points, 27 rebounds. Michigan State, though, fun matchup here, is the best team in the country at preventing offensive rebounds at just 22.5%. Jeremy Fears is awesome. Backcourts win tournaments. I like Michigan State here, to be honest with you. I think the UConn offense has just been a little too inconsistent from a jump shot perspective and just their ability to hit down tough shots. Two of the top 30 longest teams in college basketball. Michigan State, 21st tallest. UConn, 30th. It's a game of front lines, and I think the X factor is who makes enough jump shots. And I just trust the Michigan State backcourt and Jeremy Fears just a little bit more.
And that's what I was going to say, too. Like, this will end up being a grown man type of game, too. I think some of the experts are projecting this game to be more of a rock fight, not a whole lot of highlights. And you look at the two coaches that are in it as well, of course, with Dan Hurley and his style and how he goes about players or the type of players that he recruit tough. Same with Izzo, man. And to be quite honest with you, I'm hyped to see Izzo back in this role, going deep into it and getting some more shine, man, because one of the coldest parts of my youth growing up, man, was watching that Bateen Cleaves team, man, and how Michigan State jumped on the scene with Izzo. And I like that he's still in the mix of some of these legends that have stuck around and adjusted to the NIL area. But this is going to be more of a rock fight and physical game.
Iowa, Nebraska is going to be so much fun. So much fun. Tomorrow at 6:30 p.m., Ken Pom predicts a 69-66 Nebraska win. These two teams have played twice. They split the home and home. Nebraska won 84-75 on Sunday, March 8th. Iowa beat Nebraska at home 57-52. The Hawkeyes turned it over 20% of the time in game one and 26% of the time in game two. Isaac Trotter writes at CBSSports.com, Nebraska has been an elite pick-and-roll defense, ranking 99th percentile within that. Also, again, part of the reason why Nebraska was able to survive against Vanderbilt and be able to guard those really good Vandy guards. And I know Duke Miles had the injury, but hold him in check with only 9 points in the second-round matchup. I saw a tweet the other day, Ramon, that said this is the kind of game where you need security guards separating the two fan bases like you do for European soccer games.
Yeah.
Like, imagine finally getting to the Sweet 16, something that Fran McCaffrey did not do at Iowa, which is crazy. And Ben McCollum has done it in his first season, getting all the way here and being like, oh, great, it's our arch rival. Perfect. Wow. Like the way Tennessee was against Kentucky last season. Like, this is the equivalent of Tennessee, Kentucky, just on a much smaller scale with a lot more corn and a Midwest vibe to it.
You mentioned a little bit more corn, man.
Yeah, it's Iowa, Nebraska.
It's battle of corn here.
Yeah, right.
It is. As long as they're not eating corn vertically, we're good to go, man. But with that being said, third time playing each other, very familiar, same conference. I don't know how this one's going to go. I do hope it does come with a little bit of hate. But again, familiarity of these two teams, who adjusts quicker, who jumps out fast too, is the way I'm viewing this matchup. Because again, we talking about conference team playing against one another. That is a different level of anxiety, especially when you're traveling and making sure that you can get this dub. This is the first for Nebraska. I like the Cinderella. You mentioned it yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Like, this is the Cinderella. Like, looking at both of these teams, Iowa and Nebraska, I just like the storyline of what Nebraska got going on. I thought they were frauds, but no, they can play ball.
Houston and Illinois might be the game I'm most excited about this weekend. Tomorrow night, 9:05 p.m. I don't know why this game is so late, but that's what they decided to do. Houston playing in Houston. Take that for what you will. I don't know, though. I feel like Iowa, Nebraska, Illinois have such big fan bases and such rabid fan bases. I'm not sure it's a total Houston home game, like to the level that Nebraska was in Oklahoma City against Vandy. Illinois is elite at not turning it over and terrible at forcing turnovers, which is a fun mix. 5.6% steal rate, 11.7% turnover rates, 365th in college basketball. Houston has had 320 more scoring chances than its opponents this year. Illinois has had 316 more scoring chances than their opponents this year. 8th and 9th best nationally per CBB Analytics. Illinois is the number 3 offensive rebounding team in the country. Houston, the number 26 offensive rebounding team in the country. This is literally going to be NCAA tournament after dark. Someone might die.
And the way this was somewhat described to us, the first team that controls the tempo is who's going to win this game too. Coach Sampson, of course, is going to be a defensive juggernaut with this team of Illinois that's coming down to H-Town. The crowd could favor them, but Illinois is no slouch in this matchup right here. They're coming to play, man, especially if they get going offensively as well.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Stojakovic is awesome. Flemings, of course, is awesome. It's going to be such a fun game. I mean,
it should be.
Two really physical teams. Ken Pom projects a 1-point win for Houston, 72-71. I kind of like Illinois. I've got Illinois in my Final Four. I had them over Florida anyway. And we'll never get to see that matchup, thanks to Ben McCollum's Iowa Hawkeyes. Illinois just has more scores. I got 7 guys that can score at any given night. It's kind of the same thing we talk about with Tennessee sometimes with Houston. They just have so many lulls offensively where they'll go 4 or 5 minutes just not finding their rhythm because they take so many tough shots. And I just think Illinois is a little bit more dynamic. It has a little bit higher of a floor offensively than Houston has. Houston, the better defensive team, I think you would probably say. I just think Illinois' ability to get their own misses and finish at the rim is probably the difference. So I've got Illinois close in this one.
To your point about it, like March Madness After Dark, this is the perfect like send-off for Friday night. It is. Right. You're 100% right on that one.
For sure. Let's go to one more before we get a break here. Arizona, Arkansas. This is going to be a really fun one. Ken Pom projecting an 8-point win for Arizona, 87-79. Arizona, my national champ at the beginning of all this. I think they can win any type of game. I think Koa Pete, Braden Burries are so much fun. Arkansas's transition defense, 26th percentile nationally, according to CBB Analytics. Tommy Lloyd's team scores over 15 fast break points a game. That is 97th percentile. On paper, I like the matchup for Arizona, but one team has Darius Acuff Jr. and the other one doesn't. It can literally be that simple. If he just goes on a heater and scores 40, which he can absolutely do, you've always got a shot.
And I mean, he's got a big presser behind him too, with him landing a historic signature shoe deal with Reebok. And I didn't realize they were still in the game as far as player shoes go too. But a big week for him, man, because he's one of the coldest guys. I heard Savage, I'm talking about him yesterday and how he's projected to be the 8th overall draft pick. And I'm thinking to myself, what are they looking at? It's the same thing that Ron said. Like, who's watching him play ball and expect him to be there at 8? Like, this guy's one of the best ones to do it. But you mentioned this matchup, man. The thing is, Arizona has a persona of being physical and nasty, especially with Toby Awaka on their front line too. The issue is Arkansas is coming out of the SEC. This is what they're used to. I am wondering if it does go back and forth and they allow it to get physical. One, can you keep Toby Awaka in, who's been a huge asset for them? And can their big stay under control as far as Arizona is concerned to keep the game plan? If it gets ugly, Arkansas has a real good opportunity to upset them. And I do mean upset because I picked Arizona as well. I think this is a good team. I think they can win it, should win it, but we're talking about Cal with a different style of ball that's very productive for him. I don't want to call it a toss-up, but Will, if it gets physical, it's going to be very problematic for him.
I would push back and say I think Arizona is the more physical team, though.
You think so?
Arizona's a better rebounding team than Arkansas is.
Okay.
I think the difference is their perimeter defending with Ivan Karchenkov is so good that a lot of those open threes that Arkansas is able to get when Darius Acuff does penetrate, he's not going to be able to get. And two, Krivas is one of the best shot blockers in the sport and is such a good rim protector.
Tall trees.
His ability to help out the guards when they do get beat and not have to overhelp, I think allows Arizona to contest enough of those jump shots and dribble drive looks and have success in this game. I think Arizona's the type of team that keeps this close and pulls away late.
Yeah.
A couple more games to get into. Purdue, Texas, Alabama, Michigan, and of course, some thoughts on Tennessee, Iowa State as we wrap up hour 3 next. So who said Cinderellas are dead in the men's college basketball tournament? We've got plucky upstart underdog Texas, Ramon, taking on Purdue this weekend. Cinderella story. Wow, you just love it for Texas University to get a shot. Taking on Purdue tomorrow at 6:10. Ramon, I have sad news to report.
What's that?
Purdue did something that I liked, that I enjoyed.
You liking something that Purdue?
I know.
Have you went to church or something?
Yes. I'm sorry. They put out a picture of the team playing Settlers of Catan. Kind of cool.
That's the board game?
It's a way of life. It's a Fletcher Lawyer, definitely a guy that's always battling for longest road, by the way. I'd see Braden Smith as a big dev card guy. In all seriousness, Ken Pom predicts an 82-74 win for Purdue over Texas. The Texas defense against top 50 competition ranks 334th nationally, according to Isaac Trotter at CBS Sports. I don't know. Really good athletes against sneaky athletic, gym rat, high basketball IQ, first in, last out kind of guy. Man, like
kids.
It's a clash of styles. It is. Texas is so good when they're at their best. Yeah. Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer look like dudes just walking down the street. They just look like normal guys, and they just fill it up. They are hoopers. Interesting matchup of styles in this one.
No doubt about it, man. And here's the other part, though. So you get the experience of what Purdue has done for the last few years as far as being in the tournament. They understand these moments way better than what Texas has going on right now, too, who's pretty much in survival mode. Them and Iowa and Nebraska, for the most part, to your point, Will, are the Cinderellas of this thing. The real question is, can Texas reset itself while now being taken serious going into the Sweet 16 and actually compete?
Right.
Like, they have a good team. They're well coached when it comes down to how they got to this point. And the other part for Purdue is I don't think they will sell them short, but legitimately, like, Texas is playing with house money right now.
For sure.
And there's a different pathway and how you go about that and how you defend it, too, because Texas can just throw stuff up and it'll go in for them. Not necessarily, but, like, there's no pressure in what Texas got going on as opposed to Purdue.
Obviously, Texas still also has high basketball IQ, all these things. I'm using the stereotype of the way that broadcasters often describe white shooting guards. I'm making a joke off that, nothing more. Purdue's offense, number one in the country in efficiency. I don't like the matchup for Texas at all. I think it's Purdue by double digits. I think
for sure.
The clock strikes midnight for Texas, the Cinderella. Alabama, Michigan. I'll be honest. The way teams have beaten Michigan this year, or at least kept things interesting, is by raining threes. And Alabama, since the show started, Ramon, have hit a couple more threes against Texas Tech. Bama hit 19 threes against Texas Tech. They might need to make 15 again to beat Michigan, but that's not impossible.
No. And here's the thing, they can.
That's what I'm saying.
Who's the guy? Yeah. Who's the guy that Ron Slay speaks about? Phylon.
LeBaron Phylon.
That guy, LeBaron Phylon. They play with confidence that oozes out. They hadn't missed a beat since their point guard has gotten arrested and taken away, and like they've continually just trucked along at this tournament, Will, and they look real good. They're well coached. This is why Nate Oates is also considered a candidate for the North Carolina job, because he knows what the heck he's doing. One of the few teams that have made four straight Sweet 16 appearances as well. So there's a standard of play for them too. The issue that Michigan's going to end up having, to your point, and you brought this up, if this is a shootout and a match of athleticism, like this could go in Alabama's favor. Now, again, Michigan's got NBA prospects on this team. So does Alabama. It might be the game where the most scouts are at watching. But when you talk about this matchup, I see Michigan just because they have the size.
They do.
They've been rolling.
They do.
And hitting threes, man, can be streaky. Missing them can as well.
I think it's a tough matchup for Bama. They just always have trouble with teams that are elite on the boards that can negate their ability to get a second three or a third three in a given possession. Ade Mara is just such a mismatch against Aiden Sherrill. It's possible. It's certainly possible. And Alabama, if they shoot the way they did against Texas Tech, they can win the whole tournament.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to do that over and over and over, but you make 19 threes, you can beat anybody. So
you can do whatever you want to, right?
We'll see. Without LJ Kaysen, Michigan's not quite been the same. I don't know. They're just not quite as deep at the guard spot, but I still like Michigan. And then the winner of that one gets Tennessee, Iowa State. And it's the last game to get to because it's the last game of the Sweet 16. We mentioned it yesterday, Ramon. All 7 of Iowa State's losses this year have come on nights where its defense has given up a 31% or higher offensive rebound rate. Tennessee is one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the last 10 years of college basketball. Iowa State is top 5 in turnover rate forced. Tennessee was second worst in turnover rate on offense. This is a turnover and offensive rebound game, especially if Joshua Jefferson's not 100%.
Yeah, for sure. That helps the Vols most definitely, but it to me is defense around the perimeter for the Vols too. How do they handle that? Because Iowa State will ring it up as well. And who's also going to score besides Jacoby Gillespie? We've seen, of course, other guys step up in those moments, like being able to see something out of Bishop Boswell, being able to get consistent early play from Nate Ament needs to be a part of this equation. But we know the straw that breaks the camel's back is always going to be how does the Vols take care of the ball. I personally have the Vols not making out of the 16. This is before, of course, Joshua Joseph.
Jefferson.
No, not Joshua. Joseph. That's a football player. Jefferson. With him being out, it changes the scenarios just slightly. Again, turnovers and making sure they can hit those second chance opportunities around the rim is what's going to be crucial for the Vols, and getting the long rebounds. Illinois State is going to have long rebound opportunities. We can't allow them to get 2 and 3 shots out of a possession, though.
It's going to be fun. It's so many good matchups.
It is.
So many good matchups this weekend. Coming up, Rhett Bryan joins us. We're scouting interior offensive linemen in the NFL draft after this.
9:04, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Nashville Predators continue their win streak, making it to 5 last night, beating the San Jose Sharks 6-3, 5 first-period goals and 6 different goal scorers in the win, including Philip Forsberg, who now has 12 points in the 5-game win streak for the Predators. The Preds are 3 points behind Utah, who hold the first wildcard spot in the West. The Preds also have a game in hand. Next up, the Preds face the New Jersey Devils Thursday night with a 7 o'clock puck drop at Bridgestone Arena. College basketball news last night. Per multiple reports, North Carolina has fired head coach Hubert Davis after 5 seasons. He held a 125-54 record and reached the Final Four back in 2022. In this NCAA tournament, the Tar Heels were the 5 seed. They were knocked out of the first round by VCU in a shocking upset in overtime after giving up a 19-point lead. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour getting started. Ramon and Will on your Wednesday morning on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Take us wherever you go on the 104.5 The Zone app or at 10 a.m. wherever you download podcasts. And good evening if you're time traveling and getting the podcast later today or this week. Justin Hawkins behind the glass, Rhett Bryan in studio, Ramon Foster via the power of Zoom. I'm Will Bowling, talking some interior OL, but first, new Nissan Stadium, because Rhett Bryan was in the new building yesterday, getting a look at new Nissan Stadium. What's up? Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, Biggie, listen, I thought about you and your 11-year career yesterday with what this locker room is going to be. Now, this is wild. Get ready for this, all right? Okay. So we're walking along what is the bottom underneath ground level concourse, and it's already like the Bricko blocks are there, the smooth concrete, like the place where you could drive a bus or an equipment van in there to unload, and literally you can see the double doors from the covered parking about 20 steps away. You come in 20 steps, go across that lower concourse path, hang a right, and you're in the locker room. It's that simple.
It's just efficient.
Oh, gosh. Now, here's the thing you're going to go, man, I played too early. I should still be playing. That locker room, all right, since we're in March Madness, you know how you're a very smart fellow. How big is a basketball court?
94 feet.
Yeah. This locker room, 65 feet wide, 128 feet long.
God. Dog.
Goodness sakes.
Lockers, 150% bigger than what is in the current building. They have, I think that locker room has a capacity for 55 lockers at current Nissan Stadium. With, in the preseason, the overflow, because there's so many people and 90 on the roster, they have a lot of the draft picks and UDFAs take the TSU locker room that's just off to the side there. This one will have, I think, 63 lockers is what Burke Nihill told us yesterday, with a capacity to go to 90 easy without even getting into the middle space of the locker room. And there's this giant circle that had been drawn in the middle, and that's where the logo will go.
I did see
Don
that.
Davenport put that out on video on X yesterday. It is something else, brother. It is something else. But the locker room, I'm like, man, I told Burke, I said, y'all could do the dang Oklahoma drill in the middle of the damn locker room. It's amazing. And that was just, and that is just with the steel structure walls, no drywall, like none of that yet, but you could see it. You could visualize it. I'm like, wow. All right, so 2,000 workers on site now, 2,700 when the thing is sealed. Now, the other part of this, they already are assembling the cable work that will be erected by cranes and pulleys to tie into that steel ring, and then that's the framework that they put those ETFE roof panels in, right? They're already in the process of this. It's going to take several months to do. But that cabling is 3 inches in diameter and weighs 40 pounds for every foot of length to tell you what kind of structure that is.
Wow.
The other part of it, we were at what would have been the east end zone, which would be the touchdown club, I believe. And we were up on the 300 level, and the worst seats in the house are ridiculously close to the field. Like, I mean, that whole deal about 38% closer to the field is legitimate. There is one particular part as we were walking to that point on the 300 level. There's this giant corner with a giant wall up there that they were actually doing final plaster work on in sheetrock. And Burke said there will be a giant mural of the state of Tennessee. And I mean, it's big. This is a big space in this corner. And every high school football team's helmet in the state of Tennessee will be aligned in that state of Tennessee mural.
Nice.
That's dope.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I love that.
So they've thought about a lot of things about making this not just the home of the Titans, but just kind of home of football. And more than just a world-class event center and all those things. Yeah, I come away impressed every time, more and more. I think it's the third time I've been through the thing. Just ridiculous. Just
do you with the state representation from east to west? Do you have an idea or thought that they might move the state championship to the stadium as well? I know scheduling plays a part into all of that. How do you kind of see that unfolding, Rhett?
You would think that you could draw a line to that. I mean, obviously, I don't know where those negotiations are. They've been in Chattanooga for several years. They've bounced from place to place. They were, in Cookeville for a while. They've been in Murfreesboro. Listen, seeing this building take shape, I think anything's possible. I don't, yeah, they could have state high school championships there, no problem. I mean, because everything else in the world is going to be there. The other part of it, too, there's 4 pro shops in this new building. And Burke showed us where one would be on this one particular level, and it was as big as the current team store in current Nissan Stadium. The biggest one will be on the south side that faces Korean Veterans Boulevard, over 11,000 square feet in that one.
Wow.
So 40 went from 4 escalators that go up to the club sections to 44 escalators in this thing.
That's an insane contrast, too, because you think about the 2 escalators they just have going up to the club level on each side in the respective club levels, and you have 11 times the overall escalators now.
Yeah. So that coupled with double the restroom stalls and facilities as the current building. And he reiterated, Titans team president Burke Nihill said, he took us to one place that would have been one of the point of sale markets, a concession stand, whatever. And using that Amazon technology, and I forget the name of it, it automatically, once you set up your card services or whatever for your payment method, facial recognition and then object recognition, like it can see you have a bag of popcorn or you have a hot dog or whatever, and you just get what you need, you walk out, it charges your card, and you're done. So literally, he said from the time you get up, go in, if you went in there intentional with purpose and knew what you were getting, and I think this is probably with sans alcohol sales, because that's different, 35-second turnaround. Because there's going to be so many of these stationed out. So it'd be like going into a convenience store and go, I want that, I want that, I want that, and walk out. Done.
That's amazing.
Wow. No more long lines, Rhett. No more long lines.
Yeah, they've thought about all of this stuff. The egress, the ingress, all of that stuff. And then seeing all of the stadia preformed concrete forming. This is the stuff that the seats will bolt into. All that stuff had been trucked up from, I think, South Carolina and Atlanta over the last several months. All that stuff's in place now. And in fact, where that goes around in the circle of the stadium, they've wrapped that in boat wrap, like you would winterize your boat with.
Right.
So that all of the outer ring stuff can be continued to work on at a good pace, while the rest of the stuff that's exposed to the elements can be contained that way too. on the interior part that is exposed by the ring that isn't finished, the roof part.
It's getting there.
2/3 of the way there is what they say.
Wow.
It's something, man. I mean, we're less than a year now.
I was going to say,
like
February 27.
Barreling down the hill, brother.
Wow. Love it. Good stuff. Well, all right. We're going from construction of a stadium to construction of a football team after this.
Offensive line.
It was sitting right there. The foundation to be laid in the interior offensive line. Where can the Titans find interior offensive line help in the 2026 NFL Draft? We'll talk about that with Rhett Bryan after this. Ramon Will on 104.5 The Zone, rolling right along on this Wednesday in Hour 4. Rhett Bryan in studio. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling previewing the NFL Draft, which, Rhett, is within a month. How about that?
Wow.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
We should probably tell people, too, Titans radio coverage from the West Club section of current Nissan Stadium at the final draft party in that building on Thursday night, April 23rd, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Our crew will get you ready with everything leading up to and through the fourth pick that the Titans have currently. And then on Friday night, the 24th, 6 p to 9 p from now Vanderbilt Health Football Center.
Yes.
In the podcast room. And again, we'll have coverage of rounds 2 and 3. And then I will do some updates on the network, top and bottom of the hour through most of Saturday with what they do in day 3, which they have currently the most picks of any of that stuff.
That's right.
Having 9 total picks.
I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm stoked. It's going to be so fun. Be really, really fun.
Yes, indeed.
Love it. All right, let's talk interior OL, Rhett, because the Titans at the moment could be in the market for at least one interior offensive lineman in this draft, and you could argue potentially a center and a guard, or obviously depth moves and all these things happen from time to time in day 3, regardless of what position you need in the short term when you find a player you like. I want to start with what makes sense for the Titans, Rhett, and we've talked off air about a couple of guys. Who am I kidding? We've talked off air about a ton of guys, not just interior offensive linemen.
Daily, yes.
I want to start at center with the value of what makes sense and who is the name that you feel like is rising to the top of that list.
So, and we don't know what their plans are for Austin Schloepman that they signed from the Giants as a free agent. Given his background, you would think that he's at least going to be in competition for the starting center position. And they may think that's who that is already. So I guess we'll see. The name that has kind of started to rise to the top in the center position is Sam Heck from Kansas State. 6'4", 303, arm 31 and 5/8, hands 9 and 7/8. Ran a 5.10 40 at that size at the combine, 178 and 10, 28-inch vertical leap. Anyway, 23 years old, really good week at the Senior Bowl. In his last 2 seasons, no sacks allowed, 16 pressures on 787 pass block snaps. 78.1 pass block grade in 25, 77.7 run block grade. And just last year's 8 pressures, 0 sacks, 5 penalties in the last couple of years. Functional athleticism, good puller in outside zone work, Ramon. He's a name that you should pay attention to for sure. And I'll give you another one that is really quiet, too quiet in my opinion. And it may be because he's a little on the undersized side of this and a little lack of length is Logan Jones from Iowa. Logan is a 6th-year senior. He's the 2025 Remington Award winner for the nation's best center. Unanimous All-American, 6'3", 299, arms 30 3/4, hands 9 1/4, 4.90 in the 40, fastest among the offensive line at the combine. 1.72 in the 10, so not too shabby there. 4-year starter, team captain, 2,800 snaps, all at the center position.
Wow.
Plus blocking at the second level, got a good, strong lower body, a 90.7 pass blocking grade with just 3 pressures in 2025. He's a converted defensive tackle, but I think it's his size at the 6'3", 299 and the arm length that has a little of that in question, but he's a very solid option there, in my opinion.
Right, you've mentioned everything you possibly could about Logan Jones. You look at he went to Iowa, right? He checks that box. He's a guy that is from that region, right, from Iowa himself. I wonder, does he have a wrestling background? That's the only thing that didn't pull up on his background right there was his ability to be a wrestler, man. Because he, to your point, he checks the box. He has the tenacity. The fact that he was a former defensive player, the aggressiveness is there. Also, his ability to learn and transition over to the offensive side of the ball, I think is super unique too when you start mentioning interior guys, because that is an adjustment. It's a reality check, and also his ability to snap the ball. And learning how to do it at over 2,000 snaps, right?
2,800 snaps, all at
almost
center.
3,000.
Almost 3,000. Says a lot about now, again, what will his next adjustment at his size at about 6'3", 300 pounds going to do for him at the next level too?
Right.
And here's the thing. Now, listen, he made Bruce Feldman's freak list. I think he squats 705 pounds. So, I mean, yeah, exactly.
It hurts my back thinking about it.
And it hurts my everything thinking about that. But yeah, there's some really nice centers. This is a nice draft for interior offensive linemen, period. I'm going to give you a third one, and this one is going to ping the radar of one Gator Mike, our beloved zone listener, and that's Jake Slaughter of Florida.
Slaughter.
23 years old, senior, an academic All-American, academic student athlete, high football IQ, spatially aware, really good hands, short area burst, lateral movement is in the plus category. Over 2,100 starts, 2,100 snaps. 2,100 starts means he's a Methuselah. Never mind. Let me back up on that. 2,100 snaps, 3-year starter, 2-year captain, only 4 pressures in 2025, 84.1 pass block grade in 2025, 80.2 run block grade, 7 penalties in 2025. In his last 2 seasons, only 2 sacks allowed, 13 pressures, and 785 pass block snaps. 6'5", 303, 32 and 5/8 inch arms, big hands at 10 inches, ran a 5.10 40.
I like it.
He was supposed to be part of that group that protected their young quarterback down there, and it just never really worked for Florida. But they got prospects on the D-line and the offensive line. I don't think they were able to maximize their full potential at Florida in 2025.
Oh, absolutely. No, they had stuff in the trenches. They had injuries. There was a lot of things they had working through there, and not just injuries at the quarterback position either. So
right.
Another thing you can find in this draft is an older center. To your point about Logan Jones, another guy from Kentucky is Jagger Burton, who is 24 years old. And we talked a little bit yesterday, and Ramon kind of explained why interior offensive linemen are so translatable from day 2 and 3 into starting positions in year 1. I think especially in today's climate of college football, when you have guys who are 24-year-old rookies potentially, it maybe eases some of the concerns about that guy having to come in and contribute right away, because this is not a 21-year-old or 22-year-old that's going up against grown men that are older. You're already 24 years old when you start, and Jagger Burton's another one of those guys.
Yeah, and he apparently, according to the relative athletic score, he has the moves like Jagger as well. I think he scored as high as anybody in recent memory in that thing, and I forget the exact numbers, but it's ridiculous. Nickname is Moose. Jagger Burton, 6'4", 312, arms 32 and a half, hands 10 and 1/8, 4.94 in the 40. 176 in the 10, 28 broad, 28 inch vert, 9.3 broad. I got ahead of myself. His dad, Jeff Burton, not the NASCAR driver, played at Morehead State, so there's a little bit of that there. But here you go. Jagger Burton, 47 straight starts, over 2,600 snaps, 79.5 pass block grade in 25. 12 pressures, 0 sacks in 25 on 457 pass block snaps. An aggressive player, shows position versatility. Ramon, 23 starts at left guard, 15 at center, 9 at right guard, plus feet, plus ankle.
Yeah, no doubt. The versatility is what's going to keep him around until he established himself coming out. Right, I kind of want to go to another UK guy, if you don't mind, man. This Jalen Farmer, second, third round pick, probably third round, fourth round type of guy. Big guard out of Kentucky, man. They, of course, pride themselves on the big blue wall that they also have had for a couple of years. They come with size. They have a level of, they have a standard in which they play with as well, Rhett. And you say what you want to about Kentucky football, but their bigs as of late, defensively and offensively, have been making their ways into the NFL as well. And Jalen Farmer's another one of those dudes.
Yeah, it's something how they've got these guys along that line. And you're right. Jalen Farmer is probably a day 3 guy, early day 3 that you should mention, 6'5", 322. Real thick built frame, power in his hands, or plus physical player that seeks out the contact. That's the thing that a lot of these guys have in common is they're aggressive players, effective when in the pulling part of this. 72.4 pass block grade, really efficient use of his hands. 3 sacks allowed in 2025. 6 penalties in 2024. Cleaned that up and just 1 in 2025, but played exclusively at right guard for the Wildcats there.
Just another one to keep your eye on.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I know you are a fan of the guard that Stoney Keeley talked about with us on Monday in Georgia Tech guard Keelan Rutledge. Is the sweet spot, Rhett, for a premier starting guard day 2? Is this a player that they could get at 35, or is this more of a 66 pick for Keelan Rutledge out of Georgia Tech?
With the things that are starting to be said about him and just people on the radar of this, I'm beginning to think it's closer to 35 than it is 66. But nevertheless, Keelan Rutledge, 22 years old. He was an MTSU Blue Raider for 2 years. Hung out in Murfreesboro before he went to Georgia Tech because he's a Georgia native. 6'4", 316, arms 33 and a quarter, hands 10-inch, 5'05 in the 40, 181 in the 10, 32.5-inch vertical leap, and a short shuttle of 4.54. Strong build, tough. Like everybody wants to say tough as a $2 steak. I'm going to say, like an old friend of mine says, he's tougher than woodpecker lips. He's big time.
That's great.
1 sack allowed, 12 pressures allowed in a 2-year sample there, 857 pass block reps. Right guard is where he's played. He was a tight end in high school and then moved as he grew from playing O-line, D-line. State champion in the shot put in high school.
There we go.
He is the first Yellow Jacket in Georgia Tech to be named first team All-American in consecutive years since Megatron Calvin Johnson.
Wow.
And very durable considering what he's been through in this. 22 games at MTSU, 17 starts. In 2023 at MTSU, 74 snaps per game average. I mean, dude was on the field a lot. Now,
A lot.
He's strong build, tough, got good knockback, got to clean up the lunging. He lunges sometimes, and I think that could put him at a disadvantage to rushers. But here's the thing that tells me a lot about who he is. He was the 2025 Brian Piccolo Award winner in the ACC. Now, that's named after the late running back of the Chicago Bears who went to Wake Forest. And Brian Piccolo obviously had a very shortened career. He got cancer, and they made Brian's Song one of the saddest but fantastic sports movies you'll see. Billy D. Williams playing Gale Sayers in this as his teammate. And James Caan playing Brian Piccolo. Highly recommend if you have not seen that. But that is for the most courageous ACC athlete of the year. It was a co-winner of this. There was a gentleman from Boston College who'd been battling cancer. And you're like, well, what is Keelan Rutledge's story? Well, Keelan Rutledge in December of 23 had a very, very bad car accident. And I mean, when I saw the details of it, I'm like, I don't know how this guy's playing football, because he rattled off 24 starts at Georgia Tech to finish out his career after this stuff. He basically had to have part of his foot reattached after this wreck, and then walking through oil and wreck debris and gasoline that's left on the pavement. Had a staph infection sometime later and had to have another surgery to clear that up. In other words, he was out of commission for 8 months.
Wow.
after this had happened and still finished his career with 24 straight starts. So, again, there's a lot to how tough this guy is. I think there's a lot that you would like that you would see on film and in his performances.
I like it. Good stuff.
No doubt. Right, it's fascinating. We're talking the offensive line, and more interior right now. I feel like the main conversation in Tennessee has been the tackle positions, man. And guard and center is one of those ones where it's not really held at a premium position, but this year's got a lot of good talent from the second round to fourth round as far as those interior guys. How soon could you expect? Would you be surprised if the Titans went guard or center in the second potentially round, Rhett, with how this team is kind of constructed and kind of got to find a guy?
Well, we won't know that full answer until obviously a month from now, and to see if they've done anything to address that in free agency, because obviously Kevin Zeitler is still floating out there. Don't know if that's something they would revisit, but if they've, it just seems like with all the moves they've made that like the water's not shut off, they're completely done, but I don't think it's as likely as between now and the draft. However, they could certainly go get somebody in rounds 2 or 3 if they so desired. And Mike Borgonzi sees somebody on their board they can't pass up that they like. That's, whatever that ends up being, because there's value there. And, do you go pass rusher at 4 and then interior offensive line, somewhere in night 2? We'll see. But there's plenty of candidates to look at. I'll tell you another one that has interested me is Emmanuel Pregnon, the senior that played at Southern Cal, transferred to Oregon. Now, he's an older rookie. He's 24 years old. Super durable, super experienced, over 3,200 career snaps. Only 5 pressures allowed in 2025. Really good frame, good mass. Has enormous 11-inch hands. 6'4", 315, arms 33 and 5/8. 5'2", in the 40 at that size. 35-inch vertical leap at that size. Wow. Athlete and pretty quick off the snap. He's somebody that, you should take a look at in this. And I think the reason they're not mentioning him at somebody like tackle is he's right there on that arm length threshold in that. And I think his game, from everything I've read and looked at, kind of translates better to moving inside or staying inside in this. But there's stuff to be had. It just depends on what your flavor is and what works with what you're trying to do in Brian Dable's offense.
The one other guy I wanted to ask about, Armaj Reed Adams from Texas A&M. And when we talk about the Maroon Goons being another offensive line with a name. Right. If your offensive line has a name, you're probably pretty good. And that's another one that does. One of these bigger prospects, and again, you talk about the projectability of SEC linemen coming in right away, and just the ability for so many of those guys, not foolproof, but ability of those guys to come in and have an impact because they're already adjusted to that speed and physicality more so than any other conference. 6'6", 314 as a guard, 34 and 3/8 inch arms.
How about that?
As a guard
for the Aggies,
that's long arms for a tackle. That's long arms for anybody.
And he's an older prospect. He's a 6th-year senior. 2,400 snaps plus played. Heavy strength, heavy hands and anchor. How about this? Has logged snaps at every offensive line spot except for center. So he's done both tackles, both guard positions. So potential for versatility there. Physicality shows up. Mauler in the run game. Stays active, looks for work. 9 penalties in 2025. So that's something to watch at. Not a good athlete, not elite athlete. But, that's another example of something they could potentially look at. But, that's a big man to be inside at guard.
Sure is. No doubt.
Man, I love that, actually. Personally.
50,
the bigger, the better, brother.
Right outside the top 50 of best run blocking guards in college football last year, according to Pro Football Focus. Interested to see what type of lineman they're looking for to that point. And center, do they value size? Do they want a smaller, more agile center to block for Jeremiah Love? Who's to say? I mean,
just kind of throwing that out.
Right. I mean, their type of the O-line will maybe tell us a little bit of the kind of offense they want to be.
The general consensus has Vega Owane from Penn State being the top interior offensive line, a redshirt junior from Penn State. And by all accounts, everybody seems to think he'll be taken in night one.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see Chase Basantis from Texas A&M sneaking into the bottom of round first one. He's another one that's a really good prospect in this, but there's some talent in here. You are not alone, Ramon. You are not alone. The biggies are coming
I think
through.
it's sustainability in this draft class with the interior guys. A lot of sustainable guys, right, that I like coming out of this draft for sure.
Look, at the very least, I think this position group we've been doing this morning speaks to what this draft is that there may not be a ton of elite talent, but it's high floor and a really good resume and base to start with to make you a good starter over the years, which is, hey, look, if that's what you're getting out of this, go for it, because that's what you need.
No doubt.
Rhett Bryan with us. We are within a month of Titans Radio NFL Draft Coverage 2026. Good to see you as always. Thank you.
Good to see you gentlemen as well, and we'll catch up soon.
All right. Coming up, I have got a betting trend that applies to two teams in the Sweet 16 this weekend. Coming up after this. Wrapping up the show on your Wednesday morning edition of Ramon and Will. Coming up tomorrow, we will be joined by former Titans center Ben Jones. Ramon, his interior offensive line week continues, and I will have a center and a guard next to me. On the show together.
Be safe.
Looking forward.
You'll
to
be
it.
safe.
Absolutely, I'll be safe.
You'll be so.
Not that
safe.
I don't feel unsafe already.
I mean, no, but like then, like how safe you'll be with Ben and myself.
That's exactly right.
Being inside the studio together, I'm looking forward to this. That way, Ben, I got so many questions about the center position and what he thinks it means to an offensive line, and I'm pretty sure we align in that conversation, but. It'll be fascinating to see how he thinks the development of that group is now in the NFL with so many dudes that have the ability to stick around. Sure. And I'll see if he has the same resentment that I have on being born too soon. Okay.
Being born too soon.
with Linderbaum getting the deal that he got. Like, what is it, rising tides? How does it go?
Lift all boats. Yeah.
Lift every single one of them, man. There's going to be so many guys that eat off of that plate of Linderbaum.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I have a betting trend for you in the Sweet 16. You ready for this?
Oh, what you got for me?
I've got two teams that apply here. This is from Mobland Redux, which Mobland about to come back too on Paramount Plus.
All right.
Outstanding show. I got to catch up with so many shows. I've been drinking so much basketball to the fire hose that I have not watched a television show in weeks at this point, and that's okay. Teams on a 6+ game winning streak straight up who are underdogs in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament against the spread since 2005 are 41-16-2. Since 2015, they are 23-5-2 against the spread. This applies to St. John's and Arkansas. Teams on a 6+ game winning streak straight up who are underdogs in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Okay.
Do with that what you want.
My pick was right on the St. John's, and I'm not betting it. It's just that I want to win my bracket, which I hadn't checked. After this past weekend, man, I was just like, oh, yeah, we're all cooked. Did you pick St. John's, or you had them out by now, Will?
I had St. John's out in the second round.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Ryan Shumpert with some numbers, Rocky Top Insider writer. With Tennessee's win over Virginia, Tennessee improved to 16-1 in games they shoot over 70% from the free throw line.
What a concept.
Tennessee improved to 19-2 when they score 77 points. And here you go, X Factor. 14-5 Tennessee when Bishop Boswell totals 14+ points, rebounds, assists, steals.
What I'm getting from this is just do good stuff.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, what a world to live in if they could do all of the correct things. What I don't want to see is a sloppy game. I feel like the Vanderbilt game where I think Vandy was picked to win by like 2 points or something like that, the Vols just kind of crumbled in that one. I'm not sure if they wanted the rest or they just got outplayed by Vanderbilt. But here's an opportunity right now, another win or go home moment, and turnovers must be minimized and free throws. And finishing around the doggone hoop, man, they have to be able to get those second chance points on those long rebounds or the opportunities they give themselves.
Today, Tony Vitello will manage a Major League Baseball game, Ramon. Happy opening day. It doesn't really feel like opening day because only two teams are playing, but it is opening day. Yankees-Giants on Netflix tonight at 7:05. You watching? You tuned into this?
Probably not. I'll be at my own baseball game.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This evening. But no, I probably won't tune in too much to it. Just on the basis that I'll be unwinding by the time I get home from a high school baseball game.
Okay.
So I might check them out. If I see something on social media, I'll probably flip over for a second. I'm just interested to see if he carries over the college attitude to an MLB dugout.
I think he's going to. I think that's who he is.
Okay.
Why change now? He earned this opportunity by being himself, and he's going to keep being himself.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, as players, the way they're perceived.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
It'd be interesting.
I had some Dodger some San Francisco Giants fans to say they want that.
Of course,
they don't want to see a team that's going to lay over. Yeah,
right. And they are not the hunted like he was in college. They are the hunter against the cash-strapped LA Dodgers. No doubt about it. So happy baseball to everyone. Back at it tomorrow morning, 7:20. Ben Jones, some hoops discussion, of course, tomorrow as well. Celebrate Friday Junior with us at the start of the Sweet 16 and second weekend tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
No doubt. And please remember at all times, good people, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.